I don't want to set the world on fire.
Please welcome Tom Dummey. I'm here, and your white privilege is looking to save you tonight, okay, guys?
Desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
Any government is to monopolize as much violence as possible in order for it to inflict it on as many citizens as possible.
I've been on this weird anarchist arc for a few months now. This is playing by their rules, exactly how they are.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame.
You're watching the Dog and Chicken Show. Like, share, subscribe.
That's right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
Hello and welcome back to the Dog and Chicken Show, episode 164, folks. It is Thirsty Thursday, and I am your 14-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, the quadruple distilled, non-chill filter, Tony fucking G, and we are here for your viewing pleasure. To my, I guess, right in spirit, we've got Dr. Chicken. He's going to be here for questions, but no answers. And down below, again, GQ's sexiest man alive, 3 months straight. Once again, the most prettiest head of hair, the just best beard in Hungary when he visits. Buns of Steel. He's got all Tybo VHS copies still sealed in the box. The one, the only, Brennan of Dad's Worldwide.
Thank you for having me. 10-time Tybo champion. Yep. I just want to throw that in there. Thanks for having me once again. Love being here, Dr. Chicken.
It would have been 11, but again, you hurt one of those buns of steel that 1 year.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta rest the buns every now and then.
Yeah. No, I get it. You know, squats are life. I get it.
Squat life.
Yes. We'll also have a couple other guests that's looking like down the pike here this evening, and we've got a lot of shit to talk about. I'm starting things off. I'm fighting back a cold. I've been taking Dayquil, so I know that's in my future. Can't fucking wait. It'll be right in time for this Saturday on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, where you see me defend my title against, well, probably just myself, because they're too bitch-ass to show up. Guaranteed. It is what it is. For AEW Full Gear coverage this Saturday live, Saturday evening, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. And tonight I am sipping on, for now, minor case rye whiskey finished in sherry casks.
Ooh.
And for the paid subscribers, I've got more Tito's vodka, more shitty gin, and I got some beers. So I am prepared for the worst. And I got to be honest, Phil, it sucks not having you here for gin shots, having to take these all myself. And Dr. Chicken over here, if you could understand me or respond right now, you'd totally take the shots for me, right? You would?
All of them?
Yeah, all of them.
Yep.
Or cluck twice if you want to take all the gin shots next time you're on camera. There you have it.
There we go.
This is already off to a fucking great start.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. What you got there, son? What you got?
Okay, well, I'm slumming it tonight because I've got a lot to do tomorrow. So I got a little BL to to wash down the Buffalo Trace. So,
all right, there we go.
Yeah, so
I like it.
Yep, doing a little bit of each.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing classier than that.
I mean, I gotta be coherent tomorrow, so I mean, although in probably 2 hours you'll find me slept over my keyboard and not being able to move. So fair is fair.
That makes sense. Trey, you got that damn right. Oh, they owe me big time. That is no shit, man. No shit.
You have no idea.
You have no idea. Yeah, true. And if Trey, if you want to get started, you'd be the first one. I'll just I'm waiting. I'm ready. You make the call. So, without further ado, we got a bunch of stuff to talk out. Justin found some Windsor apple. I'm excited to hear all about this delicacy, I'm sure. We'll be talking about that later on. Possibly, if we get through a lot of these topics quick, I do have a bourbon article we can pop up towards the end.
Ooh.
We got some fun. But first, let's not have any fun at all. Let's actually be super sad and annoyed and just frustrated with the world around us. Oh boy, it is time. Let's talk about some politics right out the gate, because we just did these midterm elections and they're still not over, really. Let's be frank. They're still kind of being sorted out. We've still got runoffs. We're a little more decided on one end than we were the other. Tantui Tin Man says, drink it up, Tony. Rabbit and I are going to sit here and watch you drink the whole bottle. Nice. Super Troopers reference. I can do a nice shot. A nice shot? Well, if I can do a nice shot, let's see. I'm going to pick. You know what? I'm going to pick. Actually, I've been dying to try this.
I love that you just have a drawer full of them.
Well, you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Justin, send Phil KOE a link so he can stop by for his cameo. So I have been waiting to do this. I saw this on TikTok. They said 1 part the Blue Chair Bay banana rum cream and 1 part Fireball. And it's supposed to be like a Cinnabon. So I got to try this out because it sounds amazing.
Banana cream?
Oh my God, this Blue Chair Bay banana cream rum is like my new favorite shooter ever. So Ooh, this actually looks pretty good. All right. There's enough left to do another one later if I actually
impromptu drink review.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So 50-50 Fireball and Blue Chair Bay banana rum is supposed to taste like a Cinnabon. Oh, it smells like one. Oh my God. Oh yeah. That's nice. It is. It's like the icing from a freaking cinnamon roll from Cinnabon. Oh my God.
Crazy.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm in heaven. Oh my God. Thank you, Trey. You are very kind, sir. I will now wash out my glass for the awfulness that will inevitably come. We'll put that off to the side. All right, so let's get down to it. We did the big midterm election special.
Yep.
And we did a live show last week. And Brendan was kind enough to kick in again because everybody else bailed on me again. But I digress. So as we mentioned last week, it was not the red wave that people were expecting in some areas, but they did end up getting the House. For all intents and purposes, it looks like the House is going to be going red, and here we go. Republicans win U.S. House majority, setting stage for divided government. So now we didn't expect the Dems to keep the House, and they had a very slim shot at keeping it even at the 11th hour. So this doesn't shock the world by any means, and we do go back to a divided branch of government. This is from Reuters. Republicans were projected to win a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives on Wednesday, setting the stage for 2 years of divided government as President Joe Biden's Democratic Party held control of the Senate. The victory gives Republicans the power to rein in Biden's agenda as well as launch potentially politically damaging probes of his administration and family, though it falls far short of the red wave the party had hoped for. That's really all we need from that article, because I think that's the most telling thing that we need to talk about here is the fact that now that it is a divided government and all of the mudslinging and be it propaganda, if you will, if you want to call it that, or if you just want to call it being honest about the Biden family and the Biden administration going on, laptops, Coke, whatever.
Hookers.
Dr. Chicken, you agree? I had a feeling you might.
Thank you.
This opens up such a big can of worms, and I think that's the fun story, because we know what happened under President Trump. We know how bad it got with a divided government. We know just how far they would take it, and the Republicans have been waiting, not patiently, for 2 years to get impeachment started. This opens the door for that. How quickly do you see it happening? Because we know it's going to happen. How quickly do you think it's going to happen?
They might wait till after. They have to wait till all their people are in there, right? Like January, Yeah. Okay, so maybe the impeachment happens, but if they don't have the Senate, again, it's kind of pointless. Yeah. Right? It's kind of pointless. So, okay, fine, they impeach him. Whoop-de-doo. I think everything into going into Hunter Biden, that I don't know if that's going to bring any more. Allegedly, the FBI has been investigating this guy for what, 2-3 years now,
at least, yeah,
and nothing's come of it. So, I don't have a whole lot of faith in government to do the right thing. So when they tell me that the red wave or the Republicans are going to come in and start, like hammering the Democrats, I don't believe it really. I'll believe it when I see it. What I'm just really psyched about right now, just twist a knife. My money is on January 6th.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, maybe they have their own hearings for January 6th. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, and there's actually a guy that did a documentary on the shaman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he is amazingly naive and innocent. Like when you talk to him, you're like, this guy really believes his own shtick.
Oh no.
Like he was just there to spread love and like prayers and stuff like that. Like he would legitimately, yeah. So I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I'm really excited for. I'm really excited for deadlock, because when the government is deadlocked, they spend less of our money.
Hey, yes.
So
you nailed it. That's brilliant. I love that. Dr. Chicken, do you expect less spending?
Oh, you better go get that checked.
I don't know. His outlook isn't nearly as bright as yours in that regard, I guess. Maybe he likes the inflation. I don't know. Dr. Chicken's a strange bird. Now, I do like that concept, because if they're fighting amongst themselves, they can't torture us like they've been doing for 2 years. But I mean,
everyone's always calling for compromise. What happens when they compromise? We go to war, or we spend a ton of money somewhere else. So you know what? I'm good with them just being mad at each other and just, shut that government down. I'm good with that.
Well, a government united is a government that knows how to ride us even harder. It's not like it's going to get better for us if they compromise. Like, the people have to compromise. The people have to unite. The government uniting does not help us one fucking iota.
No, not at all.
To clarify on the impeachment of Joe Biden, that is an inevitability. It will happen. They will do it. Regardless of its success, that's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It will not be successful. He's not going to be successfully impeached. He's not going to be removed from power at this point, because they've invested too much into making everybody not give a flying fuck about whether he's got dementia or whether or not he's even in charge to begin with. It doesn't matter. People don't care at this point. I can't believe that he's going to make it through his full term. I seriously cannot, because we've been predicting from the get-go. I'd been saying...
You said 6 months. That was way up.
Well, yeah. I was thinking about 2.5 years. I was thinking about just under 2.5 years. And I don't think that's going to be a problem now. I think he's going to make it to the end of his term. He will be impeached, though. And it's going to have to do with his son, Hunter. It's going to have to do with the quid pro quo. It's going to have to do with anything they can fucking throw at the wall that'll stick to get to that point. It's not going to work, just like it worked against Donald Trump. But it's more about the formality now, because the status quo became, once you take it from us, we will impeach you. So this going forward is going to be the normal. if the government is branched off in a way that the Republicans or the Democrats can do it, and they don't hold power in the White House, impeachment is just going to be the new normal. This is just going to happen, and there's not going to be any going back from that, because how do we go back from that now? I don't think you can.
He's really flexing tonight.
Yes. Yes, he is. Ah, my God. Would you look at this, folks? In vertical 16:9 TikTok. Oh, no, now we're horizontal landscape formatted. In the dark, in the shadows, emerging from the grayness of the night. The one, the only, the leader of the KOE Nation, one, Phil KOE. Welcome.
Yes, folks, it is I, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower. And yes, if you stare too deeply into this void will stare right back at you. But folks, I could not allow election coverage to go without my amazing analysis. So as you undoubtedly know, folks, Phil KOE batted 1,000 for my predictions on election night. It was perfect night for Phil KOE. Red Wave was unbelievable. It was incredible. Oh wait,
I don't.
That was 2016. Anyways,
did you actually look at the results yet, Phil? Or were you just assuming?
We'll get to the impeachment here in a second, but everybody says, "Oh my goodness, the Republicans didn't do well in the midterms." A mere 5 months after overturning Roe v. Wade and the first national election after January 6th, the Republicans still managed to take the House of Representatives. Oh my God, how are we ever going to recover from this disaster? And yes, the impeachments, they begin when inauguration hits, either late that night or early the next morning, for any Republican that wants to ever get reelected ever again. Hey, Tiberius. Well, I mean, Ty, you don't even need to show up. I mean, you just got Bill KOE to give all of this analysis, and that's really all you need. So don't worry about it, Ty. Don't worry about it, Ty. So really, the impeachments are starting. Couldn't have happened to a more deserving guy. And we got all these fans on the YouTube side right now, too.
Yeah, we are getting bombarded with girls 18 and online for fun. It looks like, oh boy.
Well, you know, you can't really say you've made it in this life until you start getting plus 18 ads being spammed in your comments. I mean, come on now. But Tiberius, he was actually pretty correct, but like none was more correct than Phil KOE. I mean,
well,
come on.
Phil, we talked a little bit about this. It's not that anybody thought that the Republicans failed. I mean, the red wave wasn't the red wave anybody anticipated that was calling for a massive flooding, but it was the fact that these things were as close as they were. Now, the Senate wasn't nearly as important as the House for the Republicans to take, but the House did come down pretty close to the end. Now, this took a lot longer for the Republicans to shore up the House than I don't think anybody expected it to take this long. We're talking, 10 days later, and it's just now finally coming to fruition. The Democrats did have a slim, very, very slim chance if they ran the table at the end to keep it, but even then it wasn't going to happen. But it was very close right up into the end. So that's the disappointment.
To be fair, the districts that took so long were using Common Core math to count their ballots. So, yeah, that just unfortunately that's baked into the cake now that's how people count in this country. So yeah, unfortunately that's keep that in mind. We can map the human genome almost instantaneously and think of all the information that we can get almost immediately and instantly digitally, but Arizona just can't figure out how to count them ballots. Trust us, bro. So yeah, that's American democracy now. Isn't that fun?
So while I've got both of you here, I guess the big question I have, because I don't follow it as closely. I just, it's Herschel Walker, so I have a hard time caring. But where are we going with Georgia? What's going to happen in Georgia?
Not nearly the same amount of money is going to get poured into it as if Nevada had gone Republican, which that was like, oh, come on, that would have been the best possible outcome for us podcasters, is a tied Senate that goes down to a Georgia runoff. That would have been beautiful, because then us podcasters can just milk the whole election thing for another month. It was beautiful, but no. Nevada had to fuck it all up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
It's still going to be fun to watch, though. Herschel Walker he's certifiable in some ways. Like, so it's pretty fun. Like, and I like the guy. I was watching some reality show. I had no idea what it was. And then I saw him on it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And he's legitimately crazy. He's legitimately crazy. So, hey, nothing else. Again, like, it's like Trump, with his Twitter accounts. At least he's hilarious. So, like, there's at least one thing going for him.
Yeah, like to me, Herschel Walker, when he was in his 50s and he got into an MMA cage for the first time, and he goes up against a jacked motherfucker who's half his age, and Herschel Walker beats the fuck out of this guy. And after that, I was like, okay, Herschel, you got more than some of my respect. So, like, that motherfucker could say some outlandish shit, and from what I've heard, apparently he has. But I would still be like, yeah, fuck it. Us fighters got to stick together all the way, Herschel. But so that's. Oh shit! Thought I was hearing some shit going on. Like, Chupacabra's coming to get me or some shit. Hey, we've got the chicken here. How we doing there, Dr. Chicken? They call me Dr. Chicken.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, big Herschel Walker fan, the chicken, obviously.
Yeah. Yes.
I tried to send you another link. I hope
Grow the Farm Up, which definitely go check them out on YouTube. I've been blowing up lately. You lucky so-and-so. Herschel Walker may be the most overrated, worst Republican candidate in history. And the fact that he is within the margin of error of Ralph Warnock, the guy who's the preacher at Martin Luther King's fucking church. Why is this guy not on the short list for the presidential run for the Democrats? He is like literally the best candidate they could ever put up in 1,000 years. And why is he within the margin of error with the guy who scored touchdowns and beat people up in a cage? That means I'm sorry, you have fucked up bad. No, that was Romney 2012. Yeah, that one. That was
yeah, he was pretty bad.
He was pretty milquetoast. He was I don't know if Ty's still in the comments, but yeah,
that milk toast, that toast was on wheat bread, whole grain wheat. That's how bland that shit was.
Whoa, Mitt Romney on wheat. Whoa, Tony, that's way too much spice for Mitt Romney. Wheat bread
with his binder full of women.
Yes.
I didn't say jalapeno cheddar from Subway. Come on, I said like whole grain wheat. Like that's about as dry as it gets.
I figured he'd be like a Wonder Bread kind of guy.
It would be flour. Nice, nice. Whoa, Schrodinger. That's pretty spicy there. That's pretty spicy. You're talking some Midwesterners, okay? That's a lot of spice. So, and gluten free. I remember one time I was at a health food store and it said gluten free wheat bread, and I was just staring at it. How?
Yeah.
How? What is it made of then? What is it? And I was just about to be just like sitting down across the aisle, like looking at it, like, but I realized, okay, I need to walk away. No.
Yeah. Well, so Herschel Walker, I think, is I don't think he's gonna win, but Georgia is a heavily red state, right?
It's reddish, unless when it comes to the Senate, strangely enough, then not so much. But honestly, I was kind of joking on election night that if it went to the tie and that was the runoff decider, there would not be one man, woman, or child in the state of Georgia that was not going to be aware that there was a runoff. Those poor fuckers. Now the Republicans aren't going to go both barrels into it because why? Sorry. I ain't got none on me at the moment. But
how close to my house are you, Phil?
God damn it, Tony.
I'm just saying you could run down for a cameo and a shot.
I just don't see that working somehow. Grow the farm up. Yes.
Amazingly.
As farmers, we look at that and laugh. It's not physically possible to have wheat and not gluten. I was just like, but how? Why? Like, what abomination is this? Like, yeah, this is abomination. This is heresy. This court is out of order. Just rest. But in the meantime, Tony can chug a beer. Hey, thank you, chicken. Tony, hit to the chug. Chug, 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 chug. But so what's going to happen here is what are they going to impeach Biden over? Well, okay, let's just go from the most recent examples and start working back. If you want to go with the most recent example, where Biden, it's now known that we have actually documentation of it that Biden tried to influence the OPEC nations to try and change the oil price for the midterm. That is at least as bad, if not worse, than what Trump was accused of doing in Ukraine, which turns out he was impeached for investigating things in Ukraine that we now know to be true. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Right there, you got a pretty strong case for impeachment for Biden. And then also the beautiful thing, this is the one that I love the most. Biden, Hunter and Joe, when people say, well, Hunter's not the president, Hunter and Joe have a joint checking account that Hunter himself publicly admitted back in 2019 that him and Joe possessed a joint checking account. Now, if you don't think that the Republicans in the House are going to subpoena and audit that checking account, there's not enough fucking arable land to create enough drugs for you to be smoking if you think they're not going to fucking subpoena that. So that's where all the fucking dirty money is, all that went on in the dark is soon going to come to the light. And it's going to be beautiful. And sorry, Dams, you open this Pandora's box of questionable impeachments. You might have started it, but the Republicans are going to finish it.
All right, and speak of finishing, I've got to do this because I'm a glutton for punishment. So, come. Oh, what's that, chicken? You want me to chug this beer? Okay, I'll chug the beer for you, chicken.
Woo!
To impeachment. Yes.
Yep. Ha!
Yeah.
Well, the first thing, the OPEC thing. I mean, that's a little different than what Trump did. So I'm not sure if that is. I mean, you're trying to influence the foreign nations. He did not
to influence our elections.
Well,
it's almost shocking how similar it is to what Trump was impeached for.
I mean,
it's so perfect.
I mean, do they have proof of the quid pro quo? Hey, Kay.
Hi, guys.
You made it.
So we're just doing a little bit of a election post-mortem. So the red wave didn't quite turn into what we thought it was, but what were your thoughts on election night, Kay?
I went into this election with really, really low expectations. I didn't think either side was going to pull out the win that they were professing to have. I think that they were all majorly overplaying their hands whenever they, talk about red wave, talking about blue wave. Nothing about the election overall really surprised me. I mean, there were some surprises as far as some anti-abortion legislation that I had my eye on, but as far as the overall results of who the win and who didn't, I wasn't really surprised by it.
Interesting. So Tony was asking earlier, when do you think the impeachments are going to start? My response was after inauguration, either late that night or early the next morning. What's your thought?
I think Trey nailed it with the January 6th would just be too poetic.
I don't think the new Congress is going to be sworn in yet, even though, yes, that would be kind of fun to watch. It's like, yeah, well, okay. But that is something to keep in mind. This is something that Iko Rich said on our stream, and I do agree with it. You really can't win on policy without it costing you in politics. The Republicans got a big win on policy in the Supreme Court in terms of the Roe v. Wade and the Second Amendment, and it did cost them in politics, kind of like when Obama got his Obamacare through. Look at how much that cost him in terms of the next election. So or gay marriage. We got the gay marriage decision, and then a year later, Donald Trump is elected president. You really can't get that big policy win without it costing you in politics. But I'd say could have been a worse night for Republicans, honestly.
Fair. Kay, yeah, when do you think the impeachments are going to begin? Because it's got to be an inevitability at this point, right?
I think, I'm kind of on the fence. Part of me is like, yeah, we're doomed. I'm taking the black pill now. Forget it. I'm moving up to a cabin in the middle of nowhere off grid. But I think that we get in this cycle in American politics where we're very much doom and gloom, and then it comes time for that, that big moment of, this is where, shit hits the fan. And it's just like, it's not there. It's kind of worn off by then a little bit.
Well, I don't know about that. Like, I just had to come back from the void there. Like, because Republicans, like, they want this. They want Biden impeached. Like, it's like anybody that doesn't go along with it, they're probably going to get primaried out in 2 years. Because
it doesn't matter if it's successful. It's more of a metaphorical thing, because that's
all neither was the last.
Exactly. That's what I mean, though. They didn't actually expect to successfully impeach Donald Trump. They just wanted to do it. They wanted to do it as many times as they possibly
I don't think they want to be successful, because then Kamala would be in charge.
Impeachment is the one legal proceeding where the jury is usually fairly good friends with the accused.
And just an awful person.
It's the Senate. So yeah, like, but no, it's the idea of like literally the reason they did the impeachments for Trump was just to stain his record with he was an impeached president. So sorry, it's one of those, it is tit for tat, but turnabout is fair play. So sorry, Dems. Biden's gonna get impeached, and boy, did he deserve it.
I gotta tell you, Phil, since you're here tonight, and Chicken, since you're watching, y'all's absence from your studios on the live stream is it's felt deeply. Not because I miss you, but because having to take the brunt of these drinks for all three of us kind of sucks. I don't know if you knew this, but here you go.
Tony Godown, one of the few human beings to operate without a working liver.
It's the hardest working liver in the galaxy, Morty, and now it's got a hole in it. Oh, God. Oh. Ah! Sorry, maybe I shouldn't make that movement with my hand. That could get us kicked off real quick. Okay. Wow. Ah, that is awful. Awful. Why does anybody like gin? Terrible. Sorry. Tom Foolery. Hey, how we doing, man? They won't be successful, but they better try after all the attempts on Trump. See, and that's kind of my point. It's turnabout's fair play, like Phil was saying, and it's kind of the new normal. It doesn't matter who the president is in the next term. I don't think it's going to be Biden. Whether or not it's Orange Man, I'm not ready to hedge my bets that way either. So I don't think it matters. I just think it matters that one branch of the government belongs to the other party. They're going to do it. They're going to do whatever they can to at least tarnish the other side. And apparently that means racking up as many impeachments as you can while that president is in office. So I don't like that that's the new direction. I think that's about one of the most childish things that the government can do at this point, because you lost the election. Like, you have to put up with this for 4 years now. What's the one thing you can do? I can snitch. I can go tell the teacher that he put gum in my hair. Whether or not he did, that doesn't matter. But I can go tell the teacher he put gum in my hair. And that's the equivalent of the...
You know what's more childish? Calling the hall monitor to go look through the locker, or in this case, having the FBI raid the home of your political opposition. Real bad look, real banana republic shit right there. So yeah, you want to talk about childish. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that the Republicans are pissed about. So
Biden will only get 2 years of it, where Trump had like 4 years of it. So there you go.
Yeah, but no, we at least had a couple good years. The first 2 years of Trump years were good before the heavy goddamn just the bullshit started.
He still had Russiagate going on, so
now Kay, there's kind of I guess you would call it an intellectual civil war amongst the Republicans. There's a war for the soul of the Republican Party right now. And the two avatars of this particular battle is Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, let's get into this, because this was the big story. It's big enough. It was expected to come down the pike eventually. Why did he wait as long as he did? Why now? Why not late? I just, the timing does seem a little weird. It's like it's either too early or too late, depending on how you want to look at it. Because now we know that it's going to be Donald Trump running for presidency in 2024. It's his third time throwing his hat in the ring, but he's got an actual foe on the red side this time. Like before, he didn't really have any competition. This is the first time he's actually going to have to earn this shit. So I think it's either it's too early or it's too late for him, depending how you want to look at it.
Well, who's going to run against him? Didn't DeSantis say he wasn't running?
I doubt he's out and out said he's not running for president. I would be shocked if he straight up said, nope, not me. Who wants that silly Oval Office? What? I don't want it.
Yeah, like 2 days after the election, I saw an article that said that he threw ice water on it, whatever that means. I don't know. I didn't read it. I was during a work day. So, but I
was about to say, when has the news headline ever gotten shit right?
Yeah, ever got it right. Yeah, Kay had a nice news headline on one of her videos. I was like shocked at. I was like, "What?" She claims she's not pro-life anymore. I was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this.
Good clickbait. Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
and it got me too. I was like, "Nah, there's no way." Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, she took the midterms really hard and just spiraled out of control.
I gotta get that clickbait title though.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, no, it was perfect. It's perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually a project I've been working on for way longer than I care to admit. It took a really, really long time, but I'm slow. I have small children. It took a number of months, but something that I've been working on for a really long time. I'm actually really, really proud of it. It's been a year's worth of bullshit of coming towards a lot of people. But yeah, I was super, super excited to finally put it out this morning.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was in the cab of the truck driving, so I only got to listen to a couple minutes of it. I was going to go back and because it was still debuting live when I clicked. I'm like, oh shit! So I missed half of it anyway. I was right at the part where you were talking about how, or maybe this was part on top of your story, because you were talking about how you can't just label one thing as left and right, and you can't say pro-life, and you can't just hang those taglines on one blue side or red side. And I think that's important to consider when we talk about abortion as a whole, because it does get swept under the rug and we make it completely political, and we do kind of lose sight of what's actually important when you boil it down. Because what's really important is the fact that, abortion's bad. So we can't really just use it as political chess. And I like that concept of it. Let's not lose sight of what's actually important here. Let's remember why people are actually debating over this to begin with, and not just use it as a chess piece.
Well, and that's like, for me, that's the super, super frustrating thing. I was super, super upfront about the fact that I didn't vote in this midterm election. I'm in Pennsylvania. My option was Mehmet fucking Oz. And I'm like, no. I'm thinking, no. Like, I'm just like, I was just like,
yeah, I know he was lame as shit, but come on. Like he was either that or Fetterman. Like, holy shit. Like, that's
that's what's embarrassing is he was up against John Fetterman. The man can't even string together a coherent sentence. This should have been in the bag win for the GOP, but they gave us Mehmet fucking Oz.
Well,
what the hell are you even doing?
The reason I wanted Mehmet Oz is because, it makes the party a bigger tent, because, Family Guy, when Rush Limbaugh came on, there was actual lyrics to the Republican Town song where Republican Catholics, yes, indeed, there are. Republican Muslims, no, let's not go too far. And so, I'd like that to be something in the past. So I was kind of looking forward to that. But
there's your reason why they put him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Phil would have won. Yeah.
True.
Dr. Phil would have won in any state. He could have been a Republican in California and he would have won that shit. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I'm so at the point where I'm over politics that if it had been Dr. Phil, I'm sorry, but he engages in the trafficking of children. Fuck that shit.
What?
Oh,
hot take. I like it.
Whoa! Spilling the tea here.
You guys haven't heard about this? A lot of the teenagers and the kids that come on his show that are, displaying problematic behavior, they get sent off to these work camps to be bled for slave labor, and it's called, it's supposed to like straighten them out and some
Don't
shit.
they like chalk that up to like Job Corps or something adjacent to it?
Yeah, they do, and
Let
it's
me
like
just
really
throw
fucked up.
Let me just throw an allegedly in there because Dr. Phil has a way better legal team than us. So I'm just going to throw it in there.
Allegedly, but Paris Hilton went to one of these camps. There's like been a lot of really, really big name celebrities that grew up, in this kind of culture that had their celebrity parents ship them off to these camps where there's rampant abuse. There's sexual abuse allegations that get swept under the rug. Like it's really, really bad, and there's a lot of people that are speaking out about it because it causes very serious trauma for these kids.
Well, there's a reason so many childhood actors and Disney stars like flame out spectacularly, because not just the ridiculous amounts of workload, it's the behind the scenes stuff that you don't hear about that their parents are involved with. So yeah, I can totally see something like that being, unfortunately, a thing. And with Dr. Phil, like, he's come under scrutiny a lot. I always think of he did the interview with the guy who started the Bum Fights DVD. He brought this guy on to basically just smear him all over his show. The guy comes out dressed exactly like Dr. Phil with a fake mustache, with a bald wig on, and he didn't even know how to respond. He's like, "You exploit people for your monetary gain." And he goes, "So do you." I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Like he did it just a few weeks ago with abortion. Like he had a really big name abortion people on. Lila Rose of Live Action went on, and it was just like it was a dog pile. He brought Lila on just to have pro-choice advocates dogpile on her while spewing completely objectively untrue misinformation.
So Kay's saying we might have found out the source for where all the sacrifices for the Eyes Wide Shut parties come from. Okay, all right, we might have figured it out.
Allegedly, Phil.
Allegedly.
Phil,
Sprinkle a few allegedlys in there. God, one of my favorite words in the English language. You can get away with just about anything if you sprinkle in some allegedlys. So
I like Tom's comments here. We're calling sending kids to boot camp child trafficking now, and are we going to start calling spanking murder too? Jeez,
God,
Bob.
just like Democrats call protests to get out of control insurrections. So,
am I right? Huh?
Yeah. Now, I actually saw Tom apparently left religion. I don't know. We'll have to talk to him about that.
I can't wait for that video.
Yeah, but so okay, I'm gonna have to definitely check out this video that Tony's talking about.
I do want to watch the full video.
It's a good 20-minute watch. I condensed it down. I sped it up to try to make it as short as possible.
Nice.
I tried to do that with this show a couple of times, and Chicken's like, "I don't talk that fast. Knock it off. Don't make me talk faster. It's not fair. People need to listen to me longer." Now he's not here tonight. That's why I've got to stand in.
I was about to say, I used to be so anti speeding up the podcast. I used to totally be anti that, but now I do it once in a while because at first I was like, yeah, there are people who speed up their podcasts at 1.25 speed, and I call them Al Qaeda. But I've come off that just a little.
I would say, yeah, why don't you back off that? You're right. I am surprised Tom's up this late, Trey, because oh shit, maybe not. We lost him. Damn, we lost him. It's a shame. He always passes out. Oh boy. Dr. Phil does ship kids that are addicted to social media and video games to camp. They call it detox.
Reviews.
So they take phone-addicted teens to the wilderness, and they love it. All 5-star reviews, I'm sure. Yeah. Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah, it's good stuff. Tiberius, I will get right on that.
Yeah. Jamie, can we get that pulled up? We've got our own Jamie now. It's awesome. But, so midterms didn't quite go as we hoped. Yes, Dr. Phil would be a good one, but I think the Republicans might have learned a lesson of Donald Trump was a unique star. You can't just put celebrities up and run. Like, are we going to have the guy that sings "In the Tulips in the Garden"? Is he going to run for like some house seat? Are we going to have like fucking I don't know, Kermit the Frog running for attorney general of some state? Like how far are we going to take this? Like,
I would vote in favor of that.
Yeah, suddenly after I said it, I'm like, shit.
I wrote, hell yeah, it's better than a lot of other people that run.
Hello, Connecticut Governor Kermit T. Frog here. Like,
so let's circle back. I'm doing my Jen Psaki. Let's circle back here real quick because, okay, check it. We'll get to you. Settle down. With the Trump announcement. What I meant by it's either too little, too late, because at this point he's been under such scrutiny this year alone with the Mar-a-Lago investigation and whatnot, and all the expected, just everything else that they want to throw at him. Why did he wait as long as he did, and why didn't he just wait? Because I think it would have been brilliant. Why didn't he just announce on January 6th and just fucking own it? Because at this point, there's no going back from it. He's going to be curtailed with that for the rest of his life. It doesn't matter. He should have just waited until January 6th and then made the announcement just to shove it up their ass even more, because that's what this is. And I said this before, and I want to get you guys' thoughts because, okay, you probably haven't heard this conspiracy theory yet. Oh, sorry. Here, let me fix this real quick. Let me put on my tinfoil hat. This is my conspiracy theory.
Well done. Been holstering that one for a while there, too.
I have been. I've been waiting to bust this bad boy out. Here's my conspiracy theory. Donald Trump waiting to announce, to decide if he wanted to run for re-election again. Is this a legitimate bid for the candidacy, or is he just taking one for the GOP, putting himself out there, being the bulletproof vest, eating all the shit, taking all of the flack, basically just being the last-ditch effort? You guys go on ahead. I'll let the zombies eat me while you escape, so that Ron DeSantis can skip to the finish line mostly unscathed.
Giving Donald Trump way too much credit.
Yeah,
I understand it. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's hard to wrap your head around. But he's already been impeached twice.
No, Trump ain't doing that.
He's already been impeached twice. He already knows the hurdles. He knows what he's up against. He's lost to Biden officially once. Is he just throwing himself on the grenade so that the GOP can take back the White House? Or is this a legitimate candidacy?
Trump is like a petulant child that needs constant attention or they'll die.
Now, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But
I do think, Tony, you do have a good point here in that Trump is like the ultimate Democrats, like 3 minutes hate. For anybody who's ever read 1984, like the Democrats just will scream at the screen when they see Trump, and maybe they'll kind of punch it out of their system by the time the election actually comes. I like the thinking, but no. Trump is he's going for clean house this time. So if he gets the nomination, he's going whole hog, and he's got it. Like at this point, like DeSantis is not going to be able to overtake Trump's numbers.
And if that's the case, the Republican Party can kiss itself goodbye.
Really, dude? I mean, Donald Trump only needed 44,000 more votes in Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin, and he was president of the United States of America.
And if his numbers
to be elected again, you are kidding yourself, and you ignore him at your own peril.
Well, look, if you had asked me any time before the election that if Trump could run again and win, I would have said yes. After this election, very clearly the answer is no. The American people will literally vote straight ticket Republican, but then vote against him just like they did in 2020. The American people are tired of Trumplicans. That is very fucking clear out of this particular election cycle. They're not having it. If you are endorsed by Trump, you automatically have a 90% chance of losing.
Well, and also, like, people need to recognize that if the GOP was smart, they would put their backing behind DeSantis. If they were smart about the future of their party, they will put their support behind DeSantis and make it very, very clear to Donald Trump that DeSantis is their candidate for the 2024 election.
The problem is that while there are the establishment and the party leadership that absolutely agrees with that, it just comes down to what does the actual party votership go. And this is the weird thing that I haven't got a chance to talk to you guys about. The lesson of the primary was if you were not supported by MAGA and you weren't supported by Trump, you lost your primary. You were out. But when it came to the general, the lesson was the exact opposite. If you were supported by MAGA and you're supported by Trump, you were out. You were out. So it's one of these weird deals to where the Republicans kind of can't win a primary without Trump, but they can't win a primary with Trump. So what do you do?
You also got to keep in mind that the primaries happened before the Roe decision, and then the general came after the Roe decision. And like Aiko said on our stream, you really can't win on policy without it costing you in politics.
I would really like to take a peek into an alternate universe where the Roe decision didn't come down until after the midterms, because I really do want to know just how big of an impact that had on the results. Some people are saying it didn't have any.
Roberts.
I think that's
again. Yes.
Like, all right, so look, I don't like abortion, but I've seen the data, and it was huge. Abortion is hardly ever in the top 5. It pretty much never makes it, and it barely ever makes it into the top 10, to be realistic. It's usually issue number 8 or 9, and it's one of those 1-2% votes. Every now and again, it surges to 4%, right? Does anyone want to take a guess at how many percent of the votership actually said that abortion was their number 1 issue? 30%. It was issue number 2, 1% behind inflation. It was fucking huge. And here's the
inflation has to be. I mean, it doesn't matter who you ask.
And that gravity, I'm sorry, like I just don't think the gravity of that's going to last for multiple election cycles like it did in the immediate aftermath. Like in 2024 here, people are saying, oh, it's an easy win for. Like I said, Trump only has to make up 44,000 votes in the right places, and he's president of the United States. That is not a hard thing to do at all. And that's going to be on the heels of Joe Biden having yet another recession, which is coming next year, folks. Sorry, strap in. We're going to go into another recession next year. And yeah, after 2 more years of Bidenomics, people will fucking. I mean, the Democrats have proven. People say Republicans are tribalistic and they're heavily partisan. Democrats elected literal dead people. They voted in actual corpses, so long as they had D's next to their name.
Well, they voted for Fetterman, so I mean that's
like unironically. By the way, for tomfoolery out there, he's quoting Aiko Rich, not Aiko. No one would ever quote such a brainless moron in their life. So
damn, this took a turn quick.
Yeah, no shit.
Tom getting shaved thrown by Ty.
No, Tom's cool. Aiko with an A is absolutely brain dead, and we do not appreciate that person's existence in any way, shape, or form.
That tells how you really feel. You're holding back too much, Ty.
Yeah. All right. So here's the real question. Number one is that just to finish out what I was saying, when abortion went from issue number 9 to issue number 2, is that the overwhelming majority of people who voted on abortion were Republicans. When it came down to it, the people who were like, I'm voting for abortion, I'm voting for X party, it was 90% of them were Republicans. This time, it was 70% Democrat. So
it had to jump up significantly.
It did. It absolutely did. It jumped. It became active. It was fire.
Tiberius, do you know, like, because I read something after the midterms talking about how, because people were saying that abortion did not make the top 3 issues, but whenever they went back and looked at the polls again, it was actually because overwhelming majority of the people that voted that way, it was early voting, not at the polls voting.
That I don't have data on. I've got data on a number of exit polls. Everything has it as number 2. But does that mean that there was more people who voted early on that one? It's possible.
How early are we talking, though? Because the decision on Roe v. Wade came down in
June.
Okay, so
election season's only was open in October. Like, remind you that, like, our elections was November 8th, but most people couldn't vote before October 15th almost anywhere, right? So this was something that was still pretty fresh months later.
Yeah.
I think the conversation absolutely.
I gotta grow the farm up. Tuberculosis is right. I didn't think it would, but you got to look at the intrinsic data. It played a huge role. It was number 2 issue. So from tuberculosis D.
I could come up on my
clever.
soapbox about the influence of the Roe v. Wade decision on politics overall, because I'm incredibly frustrated with the Republican Party at this point whenever it comes to abortion. I've been an anti-abortion activist for almost 10 years. And whenever I first got started in anti-abortion activism, I was a Republican conservative. But doing this work is really, really eye-opening to how toxic the political side of it really is to our effort. And the GOP is instrumental in that toxicity. They adopted the pro-life position as their party position by choice. Pro-life activism in the United States was started by progressive Catholics. It didn't start with the GOP, and it didn't start as a political issue. It started as a human rights issue. And so they adopt this as their party platform and then spend nearly 50 years completely fucking it up. Like, they've had unlimited options of actually adopting the pro-life platform as their platform, of actually putting their money where their mouth is, of actually promoting the ideals they claim to want to be a part of. But then, like, we talk about how we have the numbers on things that bring abortion numbers down. We have the numbers on things that actually help women choose life. And then at every turn, in every election, every opportunity that the GOP has, GOP lawmakers are actively fighting against this. Even on the Democratic side, we thought we have Manchin in our back pocket, a Democrat that also sides with us on the pro-life issue. But then we go to him as a Democrat for things like paid family leave, and he kicks it back to us saying that he's not going to support it. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous, the state of pro-life activism in the political sphere. And then you come to midterm elections like the one we had this past month, this year, like, you have anti-abortion people saying, vote pro-life, vote red, vote this. Like, you continue to want us to give these people our votes, but we're not getting what we expect in return. Like, Roe v. Wade had such a huge influence on this election and caused the red wave to not happen because of the GOP, because they're not prioritizing actually stopping abortions from happening. They're just prioritizing putting on airs. It's virtue signaling. Like, we need something to get that pro-life vote back up. So let's get Roe v. Wade overturned. They've been promising to do that for 50 years. Took them 50 fucking years to do it. And then as a result, not having any plan for the fallout of overturning Roe v. Wade cost them the midterm. It did.
It did, but you know what? It required America's moral compass, the conscience of our nation, Clarence Thomas, to set it all right. So don't worry about it. So
I like what Grow the Farm Up said here. This is an issue that really has nothing to do with government. It's more of a separation between church and state. It's between you and your God. Don't politicize it. Losing issue. And if you want to boil it down to the most obvious core way of looking at it, take a trip north down Highway 81 through Kansas, and you'll see it plastered on every billboard about every 5 miles down the highway, because it's been churched up, and it's not
with
pretty.
every point of this. Like, abortion, it can be absolutely a winning issue for the Republicans, particularly when you have Democrats.
The wrong way with it, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
sorry, Ty.
Oh my God.
We won. It's over. We have won.
It's not over. Like, come on, dude. It's
majority of our adult lives.
All right, I'm gonna bully you for a minute. Like, all right, first of all, it's not over. I love you. It's not over. In fact, it's now fresher than ever. Like, we're in round 2 or round 3. But I love you. Cope harder, motherfucker. All right.
Anyway. All right, you two just need to bang and get it over with.
But here's my other side of this real quick. Hey, Chicken's here. Good to see him. The other side of this that's really important for me, and just being straight up, is that Republicans can absolutely turn this into a winning fight, because Democrats do not do them any favors on this particular issue either. You have people like Stacey Abrams in Georgia saying that people should just be able to abort their kids because it saves them money. Like, if there is not a way to clean fucking house on this issue, I don't know what isn't. Like, come on. This is an easy layup whenever you have Democrats.
That's the worst part. People like Stacey Abrams are allowed to spout off the dumbest shit possible and have no repercussions for it. Meanwhile, everything else is under such a fine fucking microscope that it doesn't matter. It drives me nuts that...
Did I piss off Kay?
No.
You dick. Way to go, tuberculosis D. Jeez.
I'm guessing it has something to do with children or something like that. You know, you never know. But like, but not like time. Sorry, like until we change the outcome of the Supreme Court by at least 2 or 3 seats, this is pretty much it's the law of the land. And so the folks on the left are just going to have to deal with a legal regime they don't like for decades. I mean, the pro-life folks had to, so it's not written in the stars that the laws will be pro-choice forever.
I'm not saying it's going to be pro-choice. I'm not going to say it's pro-life. What I'm saying is this. Number one, it is a fight. It is going to be a consistent fight because everything that people have been told for 50 years actually did come true. And so they were like both the left and the right are waking up to the reality politically, and maybe this might be the best thing ever out of any of all this, is that some of these fights are long-term. They're not something that you do in a couple years. They're not something that you have to, just check the box and you're done. It's like, oh, wait, I have to make sure that the Supreme Court is on my side. Oh, well, fuck. How long is that going to take? 10, 15 years? Oh, what? Well, we better get started. The right's kind of figure this out. The left is really starting to figure this out in a big hurry. And you know what? Long-term planning is something this country desperately fucking needs. But on the other side of that is that remind you that even with the Supreme Court going right, and maybe staying that way for quite a while, we don't know. All right. The reality here is that there is a movement within the left that can absolutely get ground because, look, we just found out that this election, that America doesn't agree on jack shit. But if you get somebody who's, a little bit left center, who, mobilizes the moderates to vote with the left in the next big election, you know what? You might have a 60-person Senate here in a year or in a couple of years that goes and tries to put something like this in.
Probably not for our lifetimes. Will there ever be a 60-person Senate for one party?
I'm going to pause the lovers' quarrel real quick.
Sure.
Brandon, I know you've been bated breath. You've been wanting to say something. Go ahead as I pour my fucking shot of tea.
Man, I don't know. I just where to start? If they stack if they try to stack the court, which they could do, let's see, that would prolong it. They could try to pass legislation. They could pass legislation and then just drag it out until it gets to the Supreme Court. Or it could return to where it was before, where everyone talked a good game about, Social Security and abortion, but they never really did anything about it. So I see it going many different ways. I think time's going to tell on this one. I think even the next, I bet you in the next election cycle, we'll see that abortion's nowhere even in the top 5. That would be my gamble. That would be my bet.
Oh, well done, T. Well done.
I think you're right, Brandon. I don't think I'll be in the top 5 next time around.
I'm willing to bet it'll be in the top 5, at least for the next one. I think it will lose potency the longer it goes where nothing gets solved. I think that's far more likely. So by 2030, if nothing has been done to where people are happy, it'll probably be number 6.
Well, I mean, what more are they going to do at this point? Like, it's been overturned, so now the fight's going to be...
They're going to fight to codify it. They're going to fight to actually put it in as, at minimum, U.S. legal
But there's not going to be enough effort to go around to get it reinstated because
I don't think that has the political will.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying
I don't see it.
Look. I'm not saying that this is just guaranteed to happen. What I am saying is this. There is a lot of fervor behind it. If there is anything that I've seen that the Democrats or the Republicans do, it's go with whatever the fuck has the fervor behind it. Like, I'm so fucking pissed off the Republican Party right now, just on one ground. The day they announce that they're going to have the House back, like it's confirmed, they're going to have 218 in the House. What do they fucking announce? They don't announce. Are you okay?
Y'all keep going, Tides.
Phil's just driving with a chubby. Don't mind him.
Fine. Number 1. What do they announce? Do they announce a tax reform idea that they've got, or patent reform, or or new tariffs, or anything that actually might help the people that they voted for or voted for them? No, they're going to investigate Hunter Biden.
We're getting down to what really matters here, Tyler.
Oh, yes.
Really
it's going to go down. And Biden is going to get impeached over this and many other things. So it's just going to happen. Sorry.
All right. I'm telling you right now, like I'm dead serious. If you run on, hey, we're the party that impeached Biden, you can do that. You are going to get your ass fucking stomped.
The Democrats ran on 2 solid years of fucking public therapy sessions about January 6th. It seemed to work out just fine for them. So
you are absolutely drawing the wrong
impeaching the
Bill.
one politician they hate the most in this country right
real.
now.
All right.
What they're going to do. After 2
real.
more years of Bidenomics, it's just going to be icing on the cake.
Look, dude.
No.
It's bad. Like, this is bad. Like, I think a lot of Republicans are trying to pull the wrong lesson out of this hat. When it comes down to it, people didn't vote for Bidenomics. They voted for social issues because that's where everyone's strung up. There is a group of people that did vote on inflation that did vote for Democrats. But these are people who are making over $80,000 a year who are just like, well, it's not that bad. Yeah, those people can fuck off. But when it comes down to it, if you're going to keep running the social war, this is one issue Republicans are going to consistently find themselves losing on.
Yeah, Cassie. That was great. Thank you. Oh my god. All right, let's cap that one right there because you two clearly need to make out in the other room.
Suck it.
What's that, Dr. Chicken? That's a good
tongue.
Thank you.
Lots of tongue. Yep.
Thank you. The beak speaks no lies.
What's that, Chicken? Oh, he is a power bottom. Okay.
Yeah. Wes J. Ryan does have a special request that I don't know that Phil's going to be capable of doing quite tonight from his car. We'll have to line that up on another.
Yeah, I'll do my research for that song and I'll sing it for you next week, Chicken.
Okay, so we've got something lined up for next week. I like that. I'm gonna throw. Okay, I know we're deep into a specific topic here, but I do want this. I feel like this is really.
Throw a curveball.
I feel this is really important, and I just want to get everybody. 34 out of 35 alcoholics have never received treatment. Thanks, Brandon Korblick. And as a paid subscriber, you get to hand out a drink, which means fucking me, whatever you want, man. I want to get everybody's thoughts on a very pressing issue, and specifically, Kay, I'm going to throw this to you first. Why do women find Pete Davidson sexy?
Iron hog.
I honestly feel like I can't play my woman card here because I have no fucking idea.
Okay. All right.
I'm just like, he looks like a mentally a grown man that is mentally handicapped that has spent the majority of his adult life in prison, has drawn all over him like a coloring book. He looks perpetually strung out. And he kind of looked like a Muppet. I don't understand.
Because a Muppet. That's great.
That's perfect. Oh my god.
Like, he must be so fucking funny.
He does.
And very,
he does. He
very
has, like, dead eyes. Oh my god. Ah.
He must be so attentive. He must pick out the best fucking gifts. Like,
killer pancakes, I bet.
He has really, really large hands.
He's a walking, talking disappointment to your parents. Like, just being seen with him is just going to disappoint your parents tremendously. And
Pete Davidson is the person that you bring home whenever your parents told you can't date the person that is way better than Pete Davidson.
Anything's better than this.
I've tried. Like, I find him funny, like specifically on like roasts, but I didn't watch his movies. But that King of Staten Island is supposed to be a pretty good movie. I didn't watch that. I don't know how he is as an actor. I don't understand the allure. I saw a little bit of him on Saturday Night Live. I didn't watch during his era. I don't get it. But
I do agree with people. Like, I saw a tweet earlier today talking about how like men need to sit down with this man and study what it is, because you see the women that he has dated and it doesn't make any sense.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to take a quick look. Justin, if you'd pull that up, I think it bears mentioning. This guy has basically Thanos snapped
the Infinity Gauntlet
who's
of
who
Hollywood.
of Hollywood starlets and entertainment starlets, and he's working his way up the ladder of the Illuminati to find out what really happened in 9/11, to find out what killed his dad. Like, that's what it has to boil down to.
Ladder. Wow.
He's playing the long game.
He is. It's the long con, and he's getting some strange from some of Hollywood's A-listers at the same time.
That's about to say. That's one of those. It's more about the journey than the destination, ain't it, Pete? Like, yeah, I'll find out someday. Don't know if I'm quite ready yet. Flip over, darling. But yeah, Jesus.
Brendan, why do you find Pete Davidson sexy?
I mean, what wouldn't you find sexy about that man?
Right. I mean, obviously.
Those nipples. I mean, like their points, the pointed nipples. Oh, fantastic.
His sunken eyes, his bony rat-like carny features. Like, yeah, what's not to love about yeah.
I'm sorry, but Pete Davidson looks like, you know how some people have this stereotype around people who smoke marijuana, like they have a certain smell. Pete Davidson looks like he actually smells like that.
You look like a smell, Pete Davidson.
Yeah. He looks like
he looks like he smells like really trash, like absolute shit weed. That's what he looks like. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
Plus shit weed.
I don't know what shit weed you're looking at, but like this is the kind of guy that I look at and I'm just like, you smell like cat piss constantly, don't you?
Yeah, Brandon Corbett says he looks like he smells like cat piss.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dude, he looks like a cat lady. Look at that photo. I mean, like you were like, yeah, I've got cats. You'd be like, oh yeah, I see that.
I'm looking at it and I don't know. It's the mid 2000s highlights that do it for me. Like, I had that haircut.
Yeah,
so 20 years ago, and he's rocking in 2022. So
is
this the top? Is this the top? We've got to start at the top. I wanted to go through the list of conquests Pete's got. Let's just look at this because it's actually pretty goddamn impressive.
Did you ever hear that Rodney Carrington song?
Many of them. Which one specifically? Because I've seen him twice.
But no, we can't play it, huh?
Well, now, what are the lyrics? Just
yeah, I know it.
Oh, it's I got a 12-inch dick and a dozen roses. In a pickup truck. Yeah, he says that's the song. That's all I figure I needed.
My mama said I could do without the pickup truck and the roses.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's look at the
Are y'all all right over here now?
Because I think this does bear mentioning. No, you don't have to play the video. Just scroll through the text. What? Oh God, there's a video. I didn't even know there was a video. I didn't watch that shit. Wow. I don't know who Cassie David is.
I don't know who that is.
So,
yeah, I know Ariana Grande.
I've heard of her.
It's really just easier to classify Hollywood into women Pete Davidson has and has not fucked. It's just
this one's pretty impressive. She's got how many years on him? Kate Beckinsale,
and she's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, like, good God, like that's pretty impressive.
I'd say, I mean, like Lynn would say, probably wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers.
The alternative name for this is which celebs have it.
Oh my God!
Oh,
shit!
Wow! Allegedly.
Wow.
Let me sprinkle that one in there.
Okay, wait a minute. Go back to.
I don't know who half these people are. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, Kate Beckinsale, I know.
Yeah, I knew who Beckinsale is. I don't
know who this is.
Who is? What is she? What does she do? Is she?
I'm assuming some sort of actress. I don't know.
She does look familiar.
I'm guessing actress.
Yeah, I'm sure she's like in some sort of like Avatar movie or something, and she was Alien number 6 or something.
Okay, Kaya Gerber.
No idea.
She's a model.
Yeah, I've seen her.
So she's hungry.
Ellen, or is that her hair?
Now we know who this one is. Yes, Kim Kardashian.
Heard of her.
Yeah, heard. Yeah, okay. Me too, Brennan. I've also heard of her.
Yes.
Yeah.
A few folks have heard of her just once or twice.
Yeah. Ray J. And then this is like a Facebook memories post is what that video was. And
okay,
now
we need people from Pete Davidson's past, like in high school. We need the ugly chicks that he dated. We need pictures of that as well, so we can contrast and compare.
But now he is dating. Forgive me for the pronunciation. Emily Rod. How the hell do you pronounce it?
Radikowski or Radikowski? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, as of like a couple of days ago, he's dating her now. Now, if you look at all these women as a whole, they're actually pretty. Like you can tell he has a type. Like there's definitely a type there.
Yeah, hot.
Well, other than hot, I wasn't gonna say it, but I mean we know it's A-listers, but there's a theme here. So is he really just working his way up Hollywood's ladder, or is there something more?
Women that are easy to pick up.
Well, he can't
I
get.
don't feel like A-listers are easy to pick up.
He needs a sugar mama.
No, I mean physically pick up and lift up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Is Pete Davidson tall?
Sorry, but like
I think he is like 6'4", I believe.
Yeah, Rich is the
So
Yeah,
he's
definitely
rich.
tall.
He's tall. He's probably very funny.
I don't know if he's rich, but all the ladies he's banging are rich.
I was gonna say Kim Kardashian's worth more than him.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
He's 29.
he was in Saturday Night Live and he's done a couple of B movies. I don't think he's got all that much money.
No, he was one of the better SNL cast members for a while. But yeah,
he's coasting on these chicks' money. You kidding me?
He's going from one mansion
I
to a.
respect it.
like you'll know if he starts dating Oprah, like this guy is a god.
Nah, I'm not going to be impressed if he dates an out lesbian.
Well, yeah, like I'm gonna be frank. Like,
why do you think Ellen's retiring?
Just go ahead and just get married to her life partner, Gail. Yeah.
I've been like the whole Kim Kardashian thing threw me for a loop. She went from fucking Kanye to him. I'm like, I don't get it. And now he's got a new one already. I'm like, I do not get it. I don't understand it. He's kind of funny.
I mean,
he's not
I
sexy,
understand, like, for the female gaze, like, there's a difference between being attractive and being hot. Like, I get that, but he is neither attractive nor hot. It has to be personality. It has to be. Like, you have to have been around this man to be attracted to him. Because,
or is this just the status quo? Like, oh, you dated so and so. Oh, so I'm the head cheerleader. Now I can date you because you dated the head.
But it had to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah. I'm guessing that was the Ariana Grande era is when it really kicked into full gear. Like, oh, this guy's...
I can understand that though.
How much
I
older
feel like
is he than Ariana Grande? Like, isn't she like really young?
No, I think she's older than me.
Really?
Yeah,
no, just Disney portrayed her as obscenely young for way too long. So
well, then she played into that for a really, really long time.
Disney channels, yeah. But yeah. So. But no, like I think Kay, you're probably onto something here. That's got to be some sort of personality thing. Because I remember Mel Brooks, the guy's been married multiple times, but all of his wives will talk about how he's just the nicest guy, funniest guy. They all still love him to this day, and probably because he just cut him a nice, even check and just said, "Well, didn't work out. Here you go, darling." So yeah, I'm not really much bad to say about a guy like that. But I'm guessing it's something because like everybody says, like, oh, he must have a huge dick or something like that. No, like I don't think that's all. If that was the case, then like porn stars would be a lot more prominent people in Hollywood if that was it. But no, like apparently it's got to be some sort of personality quirk that he's got.
Yeah, for sure.
Personality and a huge hog. I mean,
it can be both. Like if you do that combination, it is.
There is that conspiracy theory about tall, skinny guys that look like dorks.
Yeah. There's Jesus. This is the greatest show on the internet.
It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah,
the greatest show on the internet, folks.
There it is.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna get a Pulitzer or something for this.
On that note, Tyler, I'm sorry it took this so long, but here you go. Here's your chug. To Pete Davidson's hog.
You know what? No, that should be out there on the internet. We are the first show on the internet to actually toast Pete Davidson the hog. And we find out now there's been like 6 or 7 other shows.
Oh, yeah, no, he's getting all the love. He's getting so much love right
Careful, Phil. He's going to come try to date you.
Ooh, Phil, you should be so lucky to have dated a pretty decent SNL cast member.
I'm gonna have some of the best stories, motherfucker. Like, yeah, I'll be on the podcast.
He's gonna first interview you and find out how much cash you have, and then you might be considered.
And then he will do the math as to how long.
Yeah.
He's
I'll
like,
give you 4 months,
pay
Phil
the
KOE.
week.
A girl farmer says, not a real trophy to say, hey, I'm a whore and date total. It's not something to aspire to. It's like the South Park episode. Like, don't cheer me. I'm a dirty whore. That's supposed to be a bad thing. Remember? Like, yeah. Unfortunately, we forgot about that. Tony's shop right now.
I've got some ideas. Just remind me tomorrow.
So, unfortunately, Ty, there's probably more people talking about Pete Davidson hog than talking about the runoff election in Georgia right now, because that is just how we are as a species. That's the unfortunate reality.
Well, I feel like we spent enough time on Pete Davidson's cock. Let's move over to.
What?
I know, Phil, you were just getting warmed up.
Comfortable.
I was about to say I had at least another 10 minutes of material here now.
I know. What's that? Sorry. I know. Chicken was excited too.
Chicken's right.
Let's move over to. We had a fairly big name that is a little unexpected on the Joe Rogan Experience here in the last week. We thought maybe he was going to be a little handcuffed on who he got to have on his show being on Spotify here for the last year or so, but he's finally starting to bring on some more right-wing pundits, and he did have Matt Walsh here on recently. And this was an interesting interview. And it was about 3 hours long. And for the first 2 hours, they really just talked solely about the movie, What is a Woman? And after that, it kind of spiraled into what is marriage. So first, I want to talk about the first 2/3 of the interview on Joe Rogan with Matt Walsh. He was mostly on point with this. Now, if anybody hasn't seen this, I do recommend listening to it, because Joe Rogan's take in terms of the trans community is definitely a lot different than Matt Walsh's, but they were able to find a lot of common ground. And I think that's important to remember when listening to this. Joe Rogan's opinions are definitely not the same as Matt Walsh's, but they're not that far off. But once they got past that topic, it definitely deviated into something completely different. But let's start on the first 2/3 of the interview, because he's shilling his movie, What is a Woman, the concept of that. Let's start there. Who hasn't seen? Did anybody not listen to any of this or catch any of the recaps or highlights?
I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
Never seen Matt Walsh's. I've only seen some of the YouTube clips where Matt Walsh sits down with doctors in the area and just goes, well, my name is Matt Walsh and I'm here to ask, what is a woman? And then just insanity would sometimes ensue, because they would get into what is truth and what is it, and okay, interesting that this, and people get very defensive on it too. And so that was what the entire documentary kind of was. And so that was interesting to watch, but it was kind of like Steven Crowder changed my mind in documentary.
That's what I wanted to bring up, because I think it's interesting that he took a very basic, simple question and was able to at least give people a platform to express why they felt the way that they did. Now, I know the magic of editing in Hollywood, but at least it was, at the beginning at least, an open forum for people to at least explain their opinion on it. Now, what they did post-production, I have no idea. Doesn't matter. I think that's important, though. People are at least allowed to sit and spin whether their opinion was valid or not. They were given that voice. And some of Matt Walsh's statistics, and that's what's popped up on the screen here. It's kind of, you can listen to this regardless of where you sit on the trans issue. You can listen to this interview and at least listen to it thinking, okay, here's two people at least openly talking about it with no ill intent. Matt Walsh threw out some weird statistics during this. During this, Joe Rogan invited, this is from Newsweek, Joe Rogan invited conservative pundit Matt Walsh onto his podcast to chat about gender issues, but the latter got schooled live on air, making the claim that millions of children are on hormone blockers. Walsh is a Daily Wire host who recently released a documentary, What is a Woman?, which attempts to poke holes in arguments surrounding transgender and gender issues. In his appearance on the JRE on Monday, some of Walsh's comments got debunked by one of the podcast producers. Obviously, that's Jamie. It's like they've never even heard this show. How many people have had this done, Rogan asks at one point in the podcast, referencing the blockers. If you scroll down, producer Justin, if you're still awake, thank you. Depends on what. I don't think we have the exact numbers, but if we are talking about the drugs, it's, millions, answers Walsh. Which, yeah, I did pause the interview at that point. Like, wait, did he really just fucking say that? Because that can't be right. That can't be right. Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers. Really, he said? I'm sure someone's going to fact check me on it, but my guess is we're into the millions now at this point. No, so shortly after that, Jamie says Reuters on a projection screen showing that although it could be an undercount, about 4,780 children with a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis had been put on blockers over the past 5 years. So definitely a contrast in the numbers. This was really my only big discrepancy on the...
It's just off by a decibel point or two.
Yeah, let's go with that. Now... There was a discussion. I actually enjoyed listening to the discussion because I didn't think there was any ill intent. This was like the only portion of the interview on this segment that I really found off-putting. So anybody else, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I could
care.
rant and rave about Matt Walsh for days. The man irritates me to no fucking end. And I give him significantly less credit. I think that everything that Matt Walsh does and says is with ill intent. I think that he is either a genuinely horrible human being in believing in absolutely horrendous, awful things, or he is a grifter that says horrible, awful things, not caring how it affects people, which still makes him a trash human being.
I feel like you held back there too much.
It's not say. Sheesh. I was about to say, like, he does kind of give me like the provocateur vibe. Like it's something that he wants to provoke a reaction out of people. And like, so like Tony, you and I, we've done a podcast for years about people who try to get reactions from audiences. And so, like it or not, the guy gets a reaction. He knows who he's pissing off when he does this. And so like when he just asks if there's, what is a woman? I'm just asking, what is a woman? Why can't you tell me what a woman is? Why are you trying to hide from the truth? Like we all
I do see the similarities between like him and a Steven Crowder, but at the same time, this is starkly different in the fact that he's asking one question and then just the floor is yours now, and now it's up to you to just trip over your own dick on your answer. But this is his smoking gun. Now he asks this question and then just allows you to make up the rest of the content. So he's the parallel here is that he's talking to regular normal people who aren't podcasters, live streamers, entertainers. He's talking to regular people like Steven Crowder does. Like he's punching down in that regard. So I understand the comparison, but at least they're given the platform. Now, whether you agree with the discussion or not between him and Rogan on what their particular stance is on the trans issues, that's not really the problem here. The problem is that Matt Walsh openly tried to fabricate a massive fucking number. Now, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I think that a lot of people probably should think twice before doing something so largely life altering. Are you just going through an emo phase, or do you truly feel this way before you do something crazy? Because we will have a massive overflow of people who regret that decision based off of the same information that they were given before they did it. Now, I just want everybody to make sure that they're thinking with their head and not just solely with the in crowd.
Yeah, well, the issue is the numbers, though. That is the issue, and it's a small part of a much larger issue with Matt Walsh. It isn't just that he just threw out a number. It's the fact that he didn't know the number.
Exactly.
This is Matt Walsh's issue. He has built his entire brand on talking about the transgender issue. It is all he really is known for. He made a whole fucking documentary about this, traveled the world asking random people what a woman was. Like, this is his entire shtick. Okay, so he's built his entire career off of this issue, but hasn't even done basic research to know statistics. Like, should your position not be based on facts and statistics? So if you don't know the facts and statistics, what actually is your position based on?
Yeah, I agree, because you'd think that would be one of those gotcha numbers that he would just have at the ready, but it was statistically the only number that could be come up with was so low that I can imagine that's why he didn't want to remember it if it was something he even looked at all to begin with. So yeah, that was one of the big parts that bothered me. But that was still in the first 2 hours, and that was solely what they were talking about was the trans issue. So other than that, this was a pretty open discussion, open forum, honest. I mean, you know Matt Walsh's take on this. Now, Joe Rogan, on the other hand, I feel like he gets a bad rap in terms of how he perceives the trans community, just because it's easy to do, and given the controversies surrounding him in the last year. So to have Matt Walsh on and have that guest, this does paint him in that picture right alongside with Matt Walsh. Oh, he's a right-wing nut job. He hates the gays. He hates the trans. He hates everybody, but I think having an open forum and an open discussion has always been the epitome of Joe Rogan's show, and I like to see him get back to that concept, whether or not he agrees 100% or not. So I was at least hopeful in that regard that they can still get along and have an honest discussion and not have that beat down, ugly debate that ends in everybody pissed off. But that was just on the trans discussion. But anybody else had any thoughts on that part?
I'm actually sorry. I'm surprised the numbers were that low. Honestly, I was like kind of shocked. But
so if we're talking he said what, just shy of 5,000 in terms of hormone blockers with people who had been specifically diagnosed with gender dysphoria beforehand. I believe that was the number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what it was like a year or two ago before that, and see how it's exponentially raised. But yeah, I mean, to come on a show, especially a show like Joe Rogan's, he gets about 10 to 15 million views, or listens between the audio only and the video. I mean, you're looking at 10 to 15 million people that are listening to you. Yeah. And you flat out say something completely false, and I'm guessing he said it with authority, because that's how he does things.
Yeah, he's got one monotone.
Yeah.
Way of speaking, yeah.
Yeah. So, as if Jamie wasn't going to look that up, Yeah. So, I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't have any hard feelings towards Matt Walsh. I don't know him, and I don't listen to him, so I don't know. Like, I don't want to stab him in the eye like Kay. So,
well, I get it.
I'm still bitter over him stealing my event in 2017 and giving me absolutely zero credit for it, and I'm going to carry that to my grave.
Yeah,
okay. This shit's personal. Ty, any thoughts before I weigh in?
I don't give a flying fuck.
Okay.
You don't give a flying fuck about one of the pivotal culture issues.
Okay, you two stop it.
Tony, the tension here is palpable.
I know it's.
But yes, thank you, Dr. Chicken. But in the vein of what you're saying, one of the reasons why I think it's good that Joe Rogan has people on with opposing viewpoints is, I've always said, engaging with opposing viewpoints actually makes you smarter. If you try to shut down opposing viewpoints, it actually does, in a way, kind of make you dumber, because if you had better arguments, you wouldn't need the intellectual hall monitors. So to me, I like the idea that Joe Rogan's willing to talk to those kind of out there personalities on any side of any aisle, really, because he's just trying to have the conversations of our era. And so we can't pretend that half of our country doesn't exist just because we think some of the things that are believed in the scary states we don't like to talk about here in polite society. But no, we can't pretend that doesn't exist. So I'm glad that Joe does that.
Well, I understand that position, and I totally agree that like we should be having those discussions. But I think in Joe Rogan's case, and I think that there was quite a bit of it in the first 2 hours of this conversation, is like, if this is going to happen, if we're going to have these conversations on these very, very hot button issues that affect a lot of people, like the transgender issue affects a lot of people's lives. And some of them a lot for the worse. And like this can be life or death situations for a lot of people, including minors. And so if we're going to have these tough conversations, and you're going to platform ideas like Matt Walsh's, where he truly believes that nobody should be able to get treatment for their gender dysphoria. He doesn't believe in transgender treatment, even for adults. Like, if you're going to platform that, you need to be educated enough on the subject to provide ample pushback on those ideas. And I don't think that Joe Rogan is educated enough on some of the subject matters that he discusses on his show.
He really doesn't believe that adults should treat themselves if they have gender.
No, he doesn't believe that transitional surgeries for adults should be legal.
Yeah, he's got a very archaic.
Yeah, he seems to believe that you should give people therapy to bring their mind and body into greater parity with each other.
It's kind of still like
that's his idea.
It's pray the gay away. That's his ideology on this. I mean, if you boil it down to the core, it's pray the gay away.
In this podcast episode, he talks about how he doesn't believe that, like, he believes that it's wrong if people get married knowing that they're going to choose not to have children.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna move to that next, because again, like the first 2 hours, I was a lot more on board. Like, okay,
he sounds like a triple commie.
Let's not talk about Tom that way. Look,
that triple commie Tom and quadruple Marxist.
So
yeah, Tom wouldn't do responsible platforming if it bit him in the ass.
The impressive thing about Matt Walsh is the fact that he looks and speaks like he's much older than he is. He's 36. He's my age. I didn't know that. I thought he was like late 30s, early 40s. He's gotten this kind of status. Like, he could be one of those influencers that would really have a big impact on the community that he wants to, except for the fact that, and I said this the other day, he's handcuffed to the church, and that's his downfall, because you hear it when he talks about his trans issues, but it's even more exposed when he talks about his ideas on marriage. Now, Phil and I went rounds about this the other day.
Well, now, before I do want to get into that, Matt Walsh does have that 35-year-old youth pastor look, who looks like he both had a kid and quit doing coke within the last 5 years, and so now I'm a youth pastor at this church. Like, so he's got that total youth pastor vibe. I'm gonna get
sure.
He's got a guitar in the back of his trunk of his car, just ready to go.
Yep.
Have you kids ever heard? And I got a Davida.
Yeah. So, but no, like we were talking about, like the idea of to reproduce or not to reproduce. That is the question. And like, to me, it's like, I've always kind of looked at it like it's antinatalism in general. I always find a very fascinating and peculiar idea, because it's 10 billion years of glorious human and biological evolution has brought you to this point. It's all going to be cut short because you think you're the smartest person in the room and you actually thought yourself into personal extinction. So it's kind of fascinating to me when people talk about antinatalism. Now, everybody live your life, and not everybody's going to have kids. That's just the way it is. Not everybody's going to have kids. That's just how the species works. But when people make that active choice of choosing personal extinction, I find that fascinating.
I love your brother. He's so funny.
What is Matt Walsh?
What is a Matt Walsh?
Hello, I'm Matt Walsh.
He's what a hipster would look like if it was conservative. Jesus.
Unfortunately, guys, one of my kids is up, so I'm gonna have to get going.
No, that's fair. Kay, if you would like
It's good to see you guys. Talk to you later.
Plug anything you can before you have to jump off. We loved having you.
Well, you should absolutely follow my organization, Protecting Lives Through Ethical Accountability. We just put out a new YouTube video on our YouTube channel this morning. You should definitely check it out. And we are at that handle on all social media platforms. It's PLEA Justice on everything.
Excellent.
Awesome.
See you guys later.
Kay.
Peace. All right. So, Ty, what's your thoughts on antinatalism and the such?
Ironically, I agree with you on this. It's
Oh,
quite
God.
astounding.
Hey, once in a while it happens. Oh
Lightning
God, the stars
strikes.
are aligned. I'm scared.
No,
Tom.
I literally don't understand this to a large degree. I feel exactly in kind of the same way that you do. How little pride do you have to have in yourself and your community that you're like, you know what, we're not going to pass this off to the next generation. No one should carry the torch. There's a level
a lot
where
of people who shouldn't reproduce.
Right. Well, look, I'm not going to say there isn't, but what I will say is that it's quite amazing to me that people who would be so active in politics and economics and all these things, right? And being like, I know best, will openly be like, no, I'm not passing this off to another generation to take up my stead. And I'm like, guys, if you all figure out that you need to fund teachers so that you can make sure your kids don't become leftists, 90% of this literally kills itself. Automatic win. Just literally bribe the teachers back into being Republicans and you're good.
Oh, nice. I like it. So
these people, no bullshit. These people don't have kids. It's your kids they're co-opting. Secret right-wing tactic.
Let's go to Brendan before me.
For what? To say that.
Brendan's like, well, yeah. What Ty just said happens. Unfortunately,
I saw his eyes get wide open. So either I said something horrible or he's based.
I
called on me.
I think public schools are pretty much garbage anyway, no matter how you put it. And then, I don't think there's any saving them. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I got nothing. It was garbage. I apologize.
Crazy homeschooler.
Yeah.
Tomfoolery with just a white hot take. Matt Walsh wants to turn our kids into cis straight people. I mean, yeah, he
never heard of something so. No, I'm kidding.
He kind of does. I mean, you're not entirely wrong, Tom. So, yeah, like we were saying, it's a 3-hour interview. I do encourage you to listen to it because it's interesting. Rogan's take versus Walsh's take, them agreeing for 2 straight hours, but for entirely different reasons, and then the last hour being entirely divisive, but not in a confrontational way, which I actually enjoyed. I think that was probably my most enjoyable part of it, was the fact that they're able to disagree so sternly while still having the conversation. I do appreciate that.
They could disagree without being disagreeable.
Exactly, which is nice, which I know Phil hates, but it was fun to listen to for me. So
nobody ever disagrees with me. It's just people that are wrong. That's it.
Yeah, exactly what I said. So that's when they deviate into the topic of marriage, because he's like, well, what other topics are so hot button? He's like, well, marriage. Well, what's so hot? What's so hot about marriage? Well, then Matt Walsh goes uber.
And at this point, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
This is where the Matt Walsh that people really, really don't like comes out. And he starts talking about how marriage is specifically only supposed to be for a man and a woman. And if you're not going to procreate, you shouldn't be getting married. And no, we shouldn't put laws into place that you have to procreate. But it'd be nice if we did. These opinions got really bad. And Joe Rogan went very simplistic in his responses, but it's about love. Why can't we just have these symbols for people who love each other? and he was just so heartfelt about it. You're like, "Ah, Joe." And Matt Walsh is like, "Well,
Joe's
yeah, but we don't like love. We
nice.
want to knock as many people up as we can."
Fuck love heard. Got it.
Yeah, we don't like.
Well, unfortunately, that's actually the official position of the Vatican, because the Vatican considers more babies equals probably more Catholics. So keep that in mind. That is kind of Matt's position, though. But, like, I remember years ago, it was put to me that one of the big intents of marriage is to ensure that two people pair bond so that the greatest amount of resources are there for their offspring. It's one of the purposes. And I understand that there's other people that get married for other reasons, but historically, example, if you go to a marriage like
Did he go away from the mill?
Yeah,
like you're cutting out really hard.
You went crazy there.
Robot. You went robot.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Am I back?
Yeah,
to all you beautiful
moment.
people? Okay. What I was getting at is that, like, if like a 92-year-old and a 96-year-old get married, it's cute and it's nice, and we'll all toast them, and we'll drink their champagne. But society in general doesn't really care if they break up 3 weeks later. Okay, it doesn't really care. But for people that are child rearing age, society seems to really care when those couples break up. There's things called family court, child support, all that kind of shit. Like, society really fucking cares if couples don't actually stay together when they're child rearing age. And that's kind of what the institution is supposed to codify there. Now, it's
couldn't have said it better myself.
Tomorrow,
helping me escape. And I need you.
Thank you. What the fuck, guys?
92 and a 96-year-old is creepy age gap. Yeah, because it's only 8 years, right, Tom?
Are they consummating that marriage?
No,
not
with that marital age.
Pharmaceuticals to like defy the will of God. Like,
yeah,
Jesus, like that's
get the nurse to help push.
Ooh.
No, that would be a Mormon sniper.
Jesus. Let's go this way.
Blow the cobwebs away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Get a leaf blower. So let's go this way, since Phil's losing fucking internet access with his phone.
I pulled away from the bad area.
Okay, so I don't want to.
Here's my thing on marriage. Like, it's not it's no one else's business what the fuck two consenting people do. There you go. Okay, like the idea.
Bullshit. Then why is there such a thing as child support court?
Okay,
suddenly it's two people and the state that you suddenly live in care very much about what you're doing. So
the government cares what you're doing. Yeah. That's the difference. I'm just saying that most people don't give a shit. Like, most people don't care. When you allow government into your bedroom and your home, this is what happens. Marriage licenses from government weren't always a thing. Yes. So
the halcyon days of yore.
With the epitome of marriage, with the epitome of marriage becoming like two people who wanted to enter a social contract and get the government involved and share their possessions, and then the church gets involved after the fact. Like, I understand society's understanding of marriage, but it's possible to look at marriage and say, hey, at the core of it, it's still just a contractual obligation to one another, while also still being able to understand the symbolic portion of it. Like, I have a very unique perspective on this. Like, I've been married for almost 10 years now. I am a very traditional person when it comes to marriage. I'm proud of being married. I enjoy being married. I put my ring on when I can. when I'm out in public, I like the fact that I'm reproducing, and I do it better than a lot of people. I have 4 kids. I've been married for almost 10 years. So everything that Phil wants to talk about, the benefits of marriage, I'm doing it tenfold.
Missionary position, clothes, traditional.
God damn right. Missionary, like a mother.
Get out, nobody gets hurt.
Damn right. But at the same time, marriage does bring the government into your bedroom. It does share possessions. It does do that. And it does say that if you do separate, which a lot of married people fucking do, then yeah, it's gonna be bad days for everybody involved, mostly the man. So it's possible to look at it like this is a social construct. It's a contract with the government, but at the same time, it is mostly symbolic in this day and age, because what marriage began as, what marriage morphed into, and what marriage is in 2022, you gotta take into account the way the world works. And it's definitely not the same in these 3 different stages, because it's weird now. And I know we've got a lot of different ways of looking at marriage. I'm looking at you, Mormons. No offense, but it's definitely different. But it's definitely different. So I know people want to talk. Phil, mostly. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was actually going to let Ty and Brendan go first here for a little bit, because I felt like I had a little time to weigh in. So Ty, marriage still relevant in 2022, this year of our Lord?
Absolutely. Sorry, my nose is bothering shit on me. But the long and the short here is that I actually take a weird approach where a lot of people are like, you know what, the state shouldn't be invested in our marriage. I'm like, it is absolutely imperative that a state actually cares about marriage. Not only in just like population statistics, but in legal bindings between who is in, or what's the technical term for it? Legal dependency regarding a child. Like in the event that something bad happens to the child, like are their parents responsible? Are they culpable? You actually have like the tax filings, all this shit. When it comes down to it, children are stupidly important. Married couples are stupidly important. And if a society openly ignores that, or governing structure openly supports or ignores that, they do it at their own peril. Because we know that a marriage is 6 times more effective than a single parent. Period.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, like any kind of pair bonding relationship is generally more beneficial to the raising of a child. Like I think we can all, now it's not always realistic to do that, but it's generally, you can get statistically the greatest likelihood of the best outcomes if you can have a pair bonded relationship raising a child over a single parent of any kind. So like to me, it's like, yeah, marriage that's kind of its primary purpose, because obviously like they tie so much court to it, so much family court, so much, like the fact that like child support is almost a worldwide universal now. Like I think, except maybe in like Iran, North Korea, and like maybe like 6 or 7 other places, like they recognize your child support payment worldwide. So it's just something that our society in general needs to incentivize to keep people together. Now, like I always bring up like Ronald Reagan, family values. Ronald Reagan, he was the guy that actually legalized no-fault divorce. Something to think about. Now, granted, he actually got a divorce, so he knew it would have been better if it was a no-fault divorce. But so did Albert Einstein. So anybody out there thinking about jumping in, you think you're smarter than Einstein, keep that in mind.
Going to bed?
Great. Go ahead.
I don't see why you can't have any contracts, or why you can't have contracts with people get married and have a civil union, and and not include the government in that aspect.
Right.
And you can write a will without a lawyer. It's not that hard. So
I'm sorry.
Peace.
That's fair. Thanks for coming in, Ty.
So I don't think you have to have the government in there. I really don't think you have to. And just what you said, Phil, as far as like not welfare, was it the child payments there, like, right, like that that's like a business right now. That's a straight up court. Like the court, the family court is like a business, and
multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, just another way the government is fucking over their own people. So I want less government, not more government to screw people over. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, you should be able to walk away from a contract if you don't want it anymore. You know, I mean, because contracts are between two willing people, and you know, if you're not willing anymore, then you can walk away. But you know why men are getting screwed over so hard? Because it's government. Because if this were actually a fair, impartial act, you know, an impartial judge that was acting upon this, then I don't think it necessarily would be going the way it's going.
Well, that's the thing, though. We've been groomed to think that the men should be groomed and fucked over exponentially in the court system because they're not allowed to actually bear children. They can only produce the children. But hey, it's 2022 and anybody can have kids, right? Men, women, fox, cardboard box, doesn't matter. So I think that shift's about to change fucking tenfold. But
that'd be nice because like I just gotta say it's something that's unfortunately codified into our legal system if you're a man. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show Breaking Bad, where Gustavo Fring is talking to Walter White and goes, "You have children, and as long as you have children, they are your obligation. Yes. And a man provides, and he does it whether or not he's appreciated, understood, or even loved. A man provides," and that's codified into our legal code now.
But I think Brendan's
idea of like, if you get to abort it, I get to choose whether or not I get to abandon it.
I think Brendan nailed it, though. The fact that you should be allowed to enter into this social contract with somebody if you desire, without the government being the be-all, end-all deciding factor on when it ends, if it ends, and how it is decided from here on out. Because whether or not it's about a symbolic gesture to somebody else romantically, or multiple people, or whoever that person is, man, woman, whether you're a man or woman, I don't think that matters. I think it's the symbolic gesture. And if you're making a symbolic gesture to another human being that you want to enter some social contract, whether or not it's government oriented, the government should not have the final say on how those things play out. People do tend to fall out of love. We see it tenfold. People not only fall out of love, but find out, oh, golly, the person I met on Tinder 3 months ago isn't the person I thought they would be. Things happen. This isn't the 1950s. You don't take your best girl out for a sody pop at the fucking the drive-in movie. It's not how it was.
Wait, what? You don't?
I know.
I wonder if chicks say I'm old.
Dated reference, Phil. Is a dated reference. But less government involved in your relationship and your personal being, the better. But if two people want to express their relationship by making it official and the government has to give the stamp of approval on it, I don't care who they are. I don't care what their gender is. If they're both men, if they're both women, if they're man, woman, woman, men, I don't care. I don't think they should have a hindrance in doing so. Because right now, that is the socially acceptable thing. Marriage is the be-all, end-all in expressing the love for the person that you choose to be with romantically. So when you say, well, we need to change the definition of marriage, or we need to come up with an entirely different word for what gay people can do, I don't think that's realistic. Because it's going to have the same benefits. Like if I'm sick in the hospital, you can come visit me. If I'm on my deathbed, you can decide whether or not to pull the plug. Why do we have to come up with a different word, a different definition, if it's going to be the same thing, realistically, whether or not it's marriage or it's a social union or what have you? I don't think that matters because at this point, most of the people getting married today in the United States of America are not doing so because of religious beliefs. They're doing it because of some symbolic, intertwined love with the person they want to do it with. And nobody should have to stand in the way of somebody wanting to express the love that they have for another person. If you are lucky enough to find somebody that you have love for, that you want to enter into a contract to share all your earthly possessions with, government should not stand in the way of that. The church should not stand in the way of that. And if something goes awry and that person turns out to be a fucking psychopath, neither the church or the government should stand in the way of you saying, fuck this shit, I'm outie. This is all going to be based off of people and their personal doings. The less the government and the church has to do with your personal fucking life, the better.
Well done. Now, I do think there is going to be certain points where we, like, I do have to ask, so any two people of any kind that want to have a marriage certificate, that's totally okay. No exceptions.
Good. Paint your doomsday, Phil. I'm ready.
Well, no, I'm just wondering, like, you see no exceptions to that because, like, I remember years
I didn't
ago,
say that.
Well, so I'm just curious. So you think any two people?
We can still abide by the same rules that we understand from society, the same rules that minors should not be allowed to be married. People should not be allowed to marry their relatives because that's disgusting.
Okay.
And pretty much from there on out, we can go from there. And if we have to make adjustments, we have to make adjustments. But it's a pretty easy concept to understand. Now, again, I want to be clear here. It's possible to understand that people want to offer the person that they love the most in this world some gesture that says, I would like to share my earthly belongings with you. But at the same time, it's just kind of what society does, and it's really just a social contract.
Oh, here's the big question of the night. Can chicken marry dog?
You goddamn right it does, Justin. Bring it in.
Okay, yep, Justin, bring it in there. Yep, okay.
Get out of here. Give us some time.
You know what? On that, Justin, give me the full screen for a second. Yes, Justin, on that, I'm completely convinced. Yeah. Tony, you've reformed me. I'm completely convinced. I'm sorry. Love is love. Be who you are. You're on the right track, baby. You were born this way. Like, yes, I mean, my God, it's all happened right here on Big Buck and Empire. My God, dear Jesus. But yeah, Tony, after seeing that true expression of just passionate love, how could I say no to that?
Feels good to be accepted. Thank you, Phil.
Yes.
That's all I've ever wanted. God damn it. All right, I got to go to beer, Tyler. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm glad that worked out for the best. That was a beautiful ending. That's a beautiful happy ending there. But like, so I'm glad Tony at least made a few exceptions there because like, okay, it can't just be any two people. There should maybe be a few rules and some guardrails on all that because.
Well, I think societal norms are still a thing, right? I mean, to an extent, but
for a few more minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, for a few more minutes. Yeah, so maybe marrying your mother is not an acceptable thing, when it comes down to it. But yeah, I mean
that Oedipus guy from Greece is like, whoa, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah, but Tom said that you can get married and not register. You're allowed to do so, but a lot of people do, and they do it because it's linked to their taxes. They get a tax break if they link because they are married and they register jointly. So, your taxes shouldn't be joined with your marriage, in that whole thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. So,
exactly
and then Grow the Farm Up also said something about, he said that the family court system is clearly biased toward the mother, right or wrong, and of course it is towards the mother, and that's because the justice system hasn't caught up with now. Back in the day, right? Like women stayed home with the kids, and the husbands were out and working, and that was it. And if they chose to leave one another, Well, yeah, that woman was screwed. Like she didn't have a job. She didn't, and it was hard to get in the workforce. So yeah, fast forward to now. Okay. Is it, it's much easier for women to get in the workforce. It is completely different. Fathers are way more present and actually active in their kids' lives. So, they don't just come home, sit down on the couch, demand a beer and dinner. Well, not everyone, but, so I think it's just different. It's a different time, and the justice system has definitely not caught up. So I just wanted to.
Well, the justice system not catching up to reality. When does that ever happen, right? But yeah, so I really can't dispute or deny that. Yeah, family courts do skew towards the woman usually. Just an observation I've made. Just an observation I've seen.
I think that's fair. I think Brennan's right, because the evolution of the divorce process, of course, it's always benefited women because they've been the childbearing portion of it, and yeah, the men have always been the providers, and now we're looking at it where women's equality has become a factor, and now we're not just talking about women are as equal as men. We're talking about a day and age where a woman could easily bring home twice as much as a man does in terms of income by selling feet pictures or butthole pictures on the internet.
2022 is a weird time, yeah. But honestly, I think that's one of the big things that's never going to be mentioned about a stain on Ronald Reagan's legacy was when we reformed divorce in this country and we made no-fault divorce a thing. We really should have restructured the family and child support courts at that point, because we've had a rather screwed and skewed legal system in this country for now over 40 years. An entire generation has grown up with this shit. So
Trey, family court is currently a men's rights issue. Yeah,
I'd say it's the only like I don't mean to be speaking too broad here, but I'd say it's the only legitimate one. Everything else kind of sounds like bitching and moaning, to be honest. But the child court one, I gotta give that actually every other men's rights issue just kind of pissing and moaning to me, but is what it is.
Okay, so let's round this out, and I've got a bunch of shit I've got to do. In terms of marriage, there's a lot of things that need to be adjusted in terms of what it is between the people who are getting married, whether or not we want to change definitions or change the rights of the people who are doing it, whether or not that person's a man or a woman, marrying a man or a woman. That's an entirely separate issue. But at the archaic core of it, marriage has been around for a long time. And you got to look at it as a whole. Why did it become a thing in the first place? Why has it stood the test of time, and why is it under so much scrutiny now? So, and me being a traditionalist, I enjoy my marriage a lot. I enjoy the benefits that come from it. I enjoy reproducing, having kids, and just the benefits that come from having offspring. So I'm not the perfect person to ask, but at the same time, I can understand the plight of the people who don't necessarily want to have kids, and also the people who are not physically capable of having kids, but still want to at least express that love in a symbolic manner. And if that boils down to involving the government, Jesus, that's the only thing that you have in terms of offering that symbolicism to your partner. I get the plight. Now, God damn it, Trey wants me to do a Cinnabon shot, and I have to explain the greatness to Phil. Phil, here's the greatness of the Cinnabon shot.
Oh, God.
It's 1 part Fireball. It's 1 part banana rum cream. It tastes like the frosting on a Cinnabon.
Fascinating.
Oh, God, it's so good. Oh, it makes me hard. Oh, it's so good. Grow the farm up. Common law, Tom. You can't get married without a certificate. No such thing as marriage without a certificate unless you're taking a Vegas weekend hooker wedding. Fair.
I think they give certificates too, actually.
Yeah.
They may be fake, but
I do have to do another chug, don't I, Tyler? Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, what the fuck? True. Suicide rates, incels, arrest rates, prison sentences are only issued for whiny babies. Thank you, Tom. What the... Chicken wants me to sing. Okay, I'll get there. My God. I leave for 2 seconds. I'd agree, Tom. Family court's a huge issue now. I'm lucky, happily married, 4 kids. What the hell is Cinnabon shot? I explained that. Congrats. Get the fuck out. I'm still an incel.
The farm up.
Okay. Glad we got through all those. Anywho, so who wanted me to do a beer chug? God,
You needed to sing a song.
Brendan. Brendan's coming in hot.
Nice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
My man.
Oh, will he go all the way?
Yes.
Go!
My man. My man.
Nice. Well done. Well
That
done.
was beautiful.
And then Tony needs to sing a song.
Okay. All right. Let me come up with a song. So yeah, we're gonna grow the farm out. Oh, that was slick. Yank, why don't you come in real quick while I look for a fucking song?
Something by Weird Al.
All right, I can probably do that. Yank's got a special drink review I'm ready to see.
Let's see it.
All right. Can you hear me?
Full screen even.
Can you hear me? Check 1, 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Can hear you too.
Okay, I was having issues earlier, so
Give yourself full screen for this, sir.
I hate full screen, but yeah. All right. Everybody knows I love Windsor. I drink it every fucking weekend or every time I'm on here. Went to the local gas station and it's Windsor Apple. Yeah. So I had to pick it up. They had the big bottle. I didn't want to get the big bottle and waste it, so I grabbed me a couple shooters. And it definitely smells like apple. So I go green, sweet apple. Holy shit. But here we go.
Down the hatch. Well, like a champ.
Hello.
Yep, there's definitely apple, and you can definitely taste the whiskey.
Well, as
actually not bad.
As a flavored whiskey on a 5-star scale, how would you rate that?
About a 3.5.
Okay, as a whiskey.
A 2.
Okay.
It tastes good at first. Now it's like, ugh.
And now the secret third question. When you are out of all of that, will you seek out another bottle?
Maybe. And if I do, it's only because I got really hammered and I had nothing else to drink.
Okay. All right. I mean, you can't get more of an honest review than that. Thank you, Justin. And where can folks find you?
That's definitely on the Yanked Up podcast. We're still there. Haven't done anything for a while, but we're still there.
Of course, right after you subscribe to KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, Big Buck and Empire, YouTube, Facebook. And Dad, where can folks find you as well? I mean, we're just doing a shill round corner real quick.
Oh yeah, Dad's International, Dad's
Intergalactic.
Intergalactic. Yep. And of course,
here, there, a little bit everywhere.
A little bit of everywhere, and of course, dadsworldwide.com. You can check us out, and we're on all the podcatchers. Just did a it was a good show, but it was on adolescent addiction.
It was good. It was a good show.
Thank you, Tony. I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But had a lot of good information in there. So
nice. Well, definitely check that out in the future. T.
God damn it! All right, so I still got to do a beer chug. It turns out.
Sorry, I grabbed that one.
Sing and then chug.
No, you. Thank you for taking one of the bullets for me, but I've got to do a song. I'm TikTok famous. Congrats, Tom. That's amazing. All right.
Grandpa Gone Wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Tony the full screen on this one.
I'm gonna go back to my roots on this karaoke endeavor, and I'm gonna try to be as accurate as possible, and I'm going to, as soon as I'm done, I'll do my beer chug. 213 song and chug. Okay, I just had to timestamp that. As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain, but that's just perfect for an Amish like me. You know I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens and Jacob plows. Fool, if I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the mandament to discipline. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But if I finish all of my chores and you finish thine, then tonight we're gonna party like it's 1699. We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. Churn butter once or twice, living in an Amish paradise. It's hard work and sacrifice, living in an Amish paradise. We sell quilts at discount price, living in an Amish paradise. A local boy kicked me in the butt last week. I just smiled at him and I turned the other cheek. I really don't care. In fact, I wish him well, 'cause I'll be laughing my head off when he's burning in hell. But I ain't never punch a tourist, even if he deserved it. And Amish with a tood, you know that's unheard of. I never wear buttons, but I got a cool hat, and my homies agree I really look good in black, fool. If you come to visit, you'll be bored to tears. We haven't even paid the phone bill in 300 years. But we ain't really quaint, so please don't point and stare. We're just technologically impaired. There's no phone, no lights, no motor car, not a single luxury. Like Robinson Crusoe, it's as primitive as can be. We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. We're just plain and simple guys living in an Amish paradise. There's no time for sin and vice, living in an Amish paradise. We don't fight, we all play nice, living in an Amish paradise. Hitching up the buggy, churning lots of butter, raise a bun on Monday, soon I'll raise another. Think you're really righteous? Think you're pure in heart? Well, I know I'm a million times as humble as thou art. I'm the pious guy, the limit, almost want to be like on my knees day and night, scoring points for the afterlife. So don't be vain and don't be whiny, or else my brother and I have to get medieval on your hiney. God damn it. We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. We're all crazy men of nights living in an Amish paradise. There's no cops or traffic lights living in an Amish paradise. But you'd probably think it bites living in an Amish paradise.
We were all touched. We were all touched. That was incredible. That was incredible. Tony,
we all learned.
Forget all that other shit. Give this man the fucking Grammy.
Oh, that's great.
That was
and now I get to do this.
Yep. Chug the beer. Ziggy Zoggy. Ziggy Zog. And down.
Yeah.
Oh God, you're right. I mean, Trey. After that, Hollywood is calling you too.
No doubt.
Dear God.
You'll be doing All I Want for Christmas Is You duet with Mariah Carey.
I've done that many a time at karaoke in a bar. I've never had to do it on a webcam with no music.
With no music, yeah.
That wasn't as fun.
Keeping the fucking rhythm and keeping the charisma while you're singing and you're just alone in a room, it can be a little difficult, but
it's not the same.
Remember that time I had to do WAP? I had to do WAP. That one was fucking Jesus.
WAP was fun. WAP was fun.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got Jesus Christ. Trey will take Tony over Mariah singing. That's fair. Let's finish this out. Justin, I think you got one more link to pop up, some bourbons, and yeah, let's just take it home after that.
Bourbon, you say?
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, why not?
Who does? Well, let's see what we got here.
So, I get these things. They pop up on my Google results all the fucking time. I love these.
So, what lies are we about to be told here? Because every time I see one of these, fucking it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so how much were you paid to fucking shill this horse shit?
Right. So, but the picture gives me a lot of promise. 4 Roses, Michter's, Russell's, and I've heard good things about the other one. So this one gives me a lot of promise. Best bourbons under $50.
Oh God! All right, first one better impress.
Right. I agree. Let's see where we start out with.
Russell Reserve 10-year. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I can smell what the rocket's cooking there.
A little sweet, but not bad.
Okay, so Brendan, you've had this.
Yep.
This is like about a $35 price point. This isn't bad.
Nope.
So they say, can you zoom in at all? Make the text a little bit bigger. There we go. Thank you.
I'll let you read, T.
When the bottle was revealed, tasters were stunned that Wild Turkey's higher end line was actually eligible for an under $50 tasting. Certainly has the dimensions, layers, sophistication, a pricier offering, dry and a bit savory with pronounced spicy herbal notes, including green peppercorn, cloves, and was the unanimous favorite. 45 ABV, coming in at $38. Yeah, I can't disagree.
Unanimous favorite?
Yeah, this is one of those sleepers because a lot of people don't know that this is Wild Turkey.
Yeah,
and a lot of people sleep on Wild Turkey just because they misused it in college. But yeah,
Exactly.
Wild Turkey, if you use it properly, it can actually make some great cocktails, and their higher end stuff is as good as anything that comes from the higher end stuff for Buffalo Trace, just different flavor profile.
Rare Breed is fantastic.
So good.
Oh, it is so good.
So good.
And for here in New Hampshire, it's under 50. So
Even better.
yeah. So I mean, like if I had to choose between Rare Breed or Russell's Reserve, it's Rare Breed the whole time.
For me, it kind of comes down to my mood because, like, the special and the special Russells and the Rare Breed or the Kentucky Spirit, like, it's all pretty interchangeable. They've all got a specific palate, but yeah, it's mood. They're all so good, so good.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, with that, I will allow it. All right, let's move on.
This one I'm not nearly as high on. Now, Michter's Rye is one of my, if not like top rye, it's top 3 ryes. But the Michter's US 1 small batch bourbon did leave me a little
wanting.
Yeah, wanting. That's a great way to put it. Coming in at just under $50, probably $40 to $45, 45 ABV. This Kentucky distillery is a resurrection of Pennsylvania distillery that was once America's oldest before shuttering in 1989, hence the USA Star 1 designation. Wood is the predominant note, though not in a harsh tannic fashion. In fact, pleasant, clear, and Palo Santo aromas hit the nose before being backed by a more expected palette of toffee, spice, and a slightly smoky finish. Now, I think that's generous on a lot of portions because this one really underwhelmed for me.
I'm going to be honest, folks, because I can only be true to the audience here, to Big Bucket Empire and the Kiwi Nation. If you see this one in the store, leave it on the shelf, pick up a bottle of Bullet Tenure instead.
Totally fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, to thine own self be true.
Now, Brendan, when you were in
never-
Nebraska, I had you try the Michter's Rye. You said that's really good.
I don't remember that. So
It's on camera.
is it really?
Yeah, it's totally on camera. It's fair.
I totally don't remember that. But I do remember saying Phil, because say leave the Michter's original because the one that's just on it. Yeah, I've never tried it because I've never heard anyone say anything good about it. So, but that Bullet 10 year is smoking.
I have a feeling that's going to be on the list.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if not, that's a travesty. But
yeah, this one's all right. It is underwhelming though, so we will move on.
So good thing they didn't open with that one.
Oh God!
Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Anything by EC. So let me just read this bullshit here for a second. So $30, 47 ABV allegedly. The only bourbon to return to the metal stand since our folks paid them last in 2017. Oh, sorry, I added that part. I'm sorry. Elijah Craig small batch doesn't quite have the complexity of say anything.
Anything.
10-year-old, but it's singular flavor note. Oh, they found one. Well done. Which tasters described as banana pancakes drenched in maple syrup. What?
That's too many flavorings.
No. Still delivers. Let me know when it gets here. This is what people are looking for when they drink bourbon. Said one taster.
No.
That probably works for Heaven Hill.
Trey asks, I know this sounds really stupid, but there's any connection between what is a rye whiskey and what is a rye bread? Yeast. That's mostly the liquid factor.
Yeah. Between the connection is the rye grain that's used in either the mash bill or in either the flour. So it's you can get a lot of flavor similarities because you're using the same grain often. Because back in the day, this is the only way you could really store your grain. They didn't have the grain drying and storage capabilities that we have now. And so if you wanted to store your grain for multiple years, aging or distilling it and aging it in a cask was how you could maintain economic value from your excess crop. But yeah, Elijah Craig, I'm going to be honest with you, folks. To thine own self be true. Mellow Corn, Cabin Still, and there's one other Heaven Hill release that I've liked. Other than that, not really.
Do not mind Evan Williams Bonded and Elijah Craig Toza Barrel.
Well, I'm sorry. So let's move on. Did we lose Brandon? Four Roses single barrel.
Okay, so this is the regular single barrel. This is the square bottle, not the oval. This is a square bottle. This one's going to vary depending on what year you pick it up, where you pick it up. You got to look at it. This is going to be vastly different no matter when. You've got to look at the labeling when you pick this up. So this is not indicative specifically of the bottle that you currently have or the bottle that you will pick up.
Yeah, like Four Roses is, I got a love-hate relationship with Four Roses. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's fair.
Like, I hate how much I love them, and I love how much I hate them at the same time. Because, like, with their single barrels, it's night and day in their differences. It's one of the greatest distinctions because they have four different kind of batches. One's more fruity, one's more spicy, one's got so it's kind of fascinating. So me, I don't like the spicy ones, but those seem to be the only ones I ever find of their single barrels. So, and their small batch and their small batch selects, we actually still got to do the versus video of that.
Yes, we do. And originally I liked the small batch versus the small batch select, but yeah, I do want to do the head-to-head. So Four Roses is different, but they do not make a bad bourbon. So I'll just say that. Like, there's
and quite a bit of your favorite bourbons out there are actually sourced from Four Roses.
There's adequate Four Roses to really good Four Roses. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. Moving on. I don't even know what the fuck this is. Wilderness Trail small batch straight bourbon whiskey, $50, 50% ABV. Never tried it.
This is
a review.
Oh, that was that square bottle that was at the top of the article. The one that we didn't know what it was. It's the only weeder to make it. What the fuck?
Yeah,
So
they're the ones that wrote the article or paid for someone to write the article.
So that there you go, Wilderness Trail. So, yeah,
this is the shill portion of the article.
It's
Okay.
only weeder, so like I'm just gonna go ahead and say, folks, Maker's Mark you need to also include in this.
Yes.
So
I hope
the
there's a
only
Makers involved in this. This is the only craft bourbon to make the list, the only wheater as well. That is wheat secondary grain mash bill, not the more typical rye, unsurprisingly, given the Wilderness Trail purveyors. Likewise, industry yeast providers, yeasty notes prevail in the nose. Palate, meanwhile, leans towards red apple, baking spices, and oak. Despite higher proof, it drinks lean, even though a tad hot might benefit a drop or two of water. So, yep, nope, never tried it. Couldn't tell you, but yep, they paid their due and they got mentioned.
Knob Creek is great.
Trey Pals, y'all gonna give me shit. I'm not a whiskey guy, but for me, it's either Jack Daniels or Knob Creek, depending on what I'm going for. Now, yeah, Knob Creek has some excellent releases. Definitely check out not only their 9, but their 12 year is getting a lot easier to find. You will have a very rich experience. The bottle of 12 year.
The best thing from Knob Creek you can get is the Knob Creek 12 year. Go there, stop there. That's their bread and butter. Knob Creek 12 year. Yeah. That's the best.
And Jack Daniels, even I'll admit, their single barrels, if it's a store pick, are spectacular.
No, just pick up the fucking triple mash.
Yeah, true.
Triple mash, it's $40 tops. You'll thank me later.
But alrighty, so it's the only weeder, but I would have to say Maker's Mark. Just like, you're not.
Yeah, let's talk about wheats here. I've got to assume a Maker's Mark's on the list. What's next?
Well, yeah, only weeder.
Makers are fantastic.
That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the list. Okay, well then let's just piss on this list right now because I'm going to tell you right now, folks, any fucking Maker's Mark store pick that you can find in any goddamn retail store is going to be better than whatever the fuck that last one was that they shilled.
Yeah.
Even if it's not good, it's going to be better.
I would recommend, if it's under 50, Maker's Mark 101.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's just like perfect. And I got to give them credit that they go to the 101 rather than 100 so they can get around the. God damn it. Brandon Corblick. Thomas Jefferson helped make Kentucky bourbon what it is today. In the 1780s, he gave 60 acres of Kentucky land to farmers, telling them to grow, quote, native crops. He called the area Bourbon County in honor of the French who acted as allies during the Revolution.
So not only did Thomas Jefferson help, he helped birth bourbon.
Yes.
He's fucking fantastic. That guy is just.
Which is fascinating because he didn't like whiskey. He was a wine guy. He said like he wanted to have a wine culture here in the United States, but he helped found bourbon in the United States. But he tried so hard to get vineyards to go in Virginia, but none of his vineyards really took off. And it wasn't until about 100 years after his death that Monticello became real wine country in Virginia.
Trey asking, Makers has a 101. Yes, they do. Justin saying that's the best 101. There's not a lot of 101 proofs out there. It's Wild Turkey and Maker's Mark, and they're both fucking delicious.
We're going to have a 101 proof tournament, T.
I'm in. So, right. With that being said, we need to go to the post show. My God, this was fun. This was great. We had a lot of amazing guests. This was fun. Folks, before I give the
Chicken's right. We'll get going to the post show soon.
Brandon Corblick is Pappy Van Wyck. Okay, look,
it's not $40 or $50.
It ain't no $50.
Yeah.
Not no more. But Tony.
Yes, sir.
As I'm known to say around here.
Please, Phil.
All that being said, thank you for joining us here at Big Buckin' Empire, folks. I am your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower. You can find me at KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on TikTok, KOE Nation on Twitch, folks. And we are here at Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Rumble, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Grab your glass, your cup, your your cup, your bottle, your tankard, your chalice, your stein, your flask, your canteen, your vessel of any kind. Raise it to yourselves, folks, and I hope every last one of you makes it back here happy, healthy, much the wiser. Brendan, Tony, Brendan, Dad's Worldwide, thank you for being here. Tony the Rod 2.0, take it away.
Go ahead. Yeah, slam it, bitch. Love it.
He stage frighted on us. Oh no.
Sorry. You I didn't know it was going to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought an app opened up on my phone or something that I didn't know about. Like, oh shit! And they're like, oh fuck, what's happening? Like, oh no.
Oh shit.
Hit me up, Brendan at dadsww.com, or hit me up on the I mean, if you can't stand me, I said something that just like grinds your gears so bad. Hate mail at dadsww.com. Come find me. I want to hear it, and I'm gonna read it live on air.
Fucking name.
Nice.
Yes, and Brennan, I need to send you some hate mail because it's been way too long since I've gotten to dip my toes in that. But
it's sad, but my normal hate mailer, my regular hate mailer, the guy that has been with me for as long as the show exists, has been going through some shit. It's been really, basically like his whole house he's had to empty. It's black mold, right? You got to empty your whole house and remediate it. It's been awful. So I haven't been getting any hate mail. I need hate mail, people. You need to send me hate mail.
He thrives on conflict.
Folks, if you have any ill will towards myself, towards Phil, towards anybody that was on the show tonight, not even necessarily Brendan, send it to hate mail at dadsworldwide.com. Or dadsww.com.
Yeah, that's WW. Yep. It'll get there.
So
Or just start yelling at random dads. It'll eventually get it.
I'll hear about it.
So I will say this here right at the tail end. I know November's been a fun month. It's been different. You haven't seen a lot of Phil. You haven't seen a lot of Chick, and it's been just primarily Tony fucking G. And I know everybody's sick of that shit. There is some reformatting of the show coming down the pike, and I want everybody who's been a loyal subscriber, loyal watcher, loyal fan, I want you to make sure that you're subscribed and ready to rock and roll. Next week we're going to do it's not going to be a long pre-record, but on Thanksgiving night we will have at least some fucking answers for you, so be ready to enjoy that. We're going to do some rebranding, some reformatting. It's going to be a little different, but we're not.
Trey, don't worry. You're still going to be able to torment us all the same way. That will never go away.
Yeah, no. Everybody's going to be happy. There's no worries on that. I promise. We're going to make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah,
but,
Trey, I'm still gonna take all your drinks. Don't worry, buddy.
Oh, Chicken finally makes his voice heard. Holy shit!
Whoa!
Right,
the ethereal voice of Chicken.
What are you talking about? I've been here the whole time.
Asshole. What a dick. All right, let's go to the post show. My God, what an asshole.
Peace, y'all.
See if it just smooths itself out.
Back, tell you what I'll do. If I ever get back, I promise to refabricate you. Raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost. We gotta take it down. Let you down slow. It's hard to survive.